Wow. Wow. 3 hours on the dot. Wow.
By the Elmwood Spa Airborne Chopper 680. Here's Jordan.
I'm flying around the 410. We have this
Three watches. Give back my watch. Watch out, what happens? We know what time it is. Ping the router some more, stupid. Prove there. Prove you're there, stupid.
They're clearing up. They've got some cranes out here. So it's going to be a while still before they get all lanes open. Northbound 410 backed up from north of the 401 up towards Derry. You could use northbound Dixie or northbound Huron, Ontario as alternates. They're both moving better than the 410 and rejoin at Derry. Once you're past that, it's moving fine. From the traffic center, here's Kyle Hawking.
Still volume leaving downtown, but it's fairly minor. Northbound DVP delays approaching Eglinton up to York Mills is fine on the 404 northbound. And on the 400 northbound, just know that the further north you go, you may be getting into some of the reduced visibility with snowfall. Also on the westbound Gardner, light volume, but a little busy from west to Spadina to west to Strawn. 3W is moving fine. 401 delays westbound, Mavis Express and Collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. And busy on the eastbound 401, Islington to the 400 Express, and east of Westney to east of Salem, so much lighter than usual.
That's
we have
not what I wanted. So that features
gate, they're flashing red there, so treat it as an all-way stop. Young Street closed, Davenport up to Belmont for emergency sinkhole repairs. A collision southbound on.
By the way, we got a bunch of them up here too. Yeah, it's +5, -3, +3, -10.
Closing Lakeridge Road from Taunton.
By the way, at -10, the salt water freezes.
To the 412. Give an Elmwood Spa gift card, relaxation guaranteed therapies, massages, facials, and more at Toronto's leading day spa. Download a gift card at elmwoodspa.com. Next report at 5:11 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahide.
Yeah, that lake effect snow to the north, tapering off closer to 9-10 p.m. So it's going to be slick out there. Caledon, Bolton, over to Kelowna and north of King City. Overnight tonight in the city, we're down to -8. Wind chill in the morning, -15, and a partly cloudy day tomorrow. We'll still see some flurries to the north and a gusty wind in the afternoon up to 50 kilometers per hour. So that means the high of -6 is going to feel closer to -14. Tonight down to a low of -8 degrees right now. Now it's -5, feeling like -12 at Pearson.
So it's -6, eh? It's like being $6 in debt, eh? And then you double it, and then add a little more, or take off, depending how you look at it.
Isolation periods, with demand expected to exceed 18 million tests a week this month. Ontario's top doctor says they'll be given first to high-risk settings.
City's Mark Douglas joining us live now from Queen's Park. Mark?
Charlene, Dr. Kieran Moore explains why the rules are changing for rapid antigen testing because of the immense pressure on the testing network. That's all coming from the Omicron variant.
For every Ontarian who develops the symptoms of COVID-19, consider those symptoms to be almost diagnostic at present, given how prevalent it is in our community. I hope no one thinks I was being trite by saying access to a test is a luxury.
The Ministry of Health is no longer requiring any kind of follow-up PCR test. If your rapid test result comes back positive, Omicron is just everywhere. And if
why would you need? Hold on. Why did they require that? That doesn't even make sense.
Results from rapid tests taken 24
I want to make sure.
Apart. That's now good enough to let
I want to make sure I can't have unprotected sex. I want to make sure. Just think of the equivalent with a different disease.
Tests to work purposes to meet critical workforce needs in the highest risk settings.
That's not what I
So where's the supply of all these rapid antigen test kits? Well, Ontario officials say Ottawa has promised more than 54 million kits for January, but has only offered a delivery date for the first 9 million. When the kits do arrive, they go to high-risk settings like long-term care homes first, then schools, then to sectors with mandatory vaccination policies, and then to the general public last. And you better be ready for more lineups because Ontario officials tell us there have been no conversations with Canada Post about mailing the test kits out to the public. Canada Post, we're told, cannot assure climate-controlled delivery, and these rapid test kits must not be allowed to freeze. Live at Queen's Park, Mark Douglas.
And by the way, it's somewhere between +3 and -3 right now. But it feels like
booster shots for education and child care staff. City's Phil Martino joins us live. Phil.
James, in a statement, Education Minister Stephen Lecce said, as part of our government's response to the Omicron variant, we are providing greater access to COVID-19 booster shots for education and childcare staff. Starting tomorrow, these staff in the Greater Toronto
Hamilton area will have planned access to vaccines at the International Center in Mississauga, as we work with all other public health units to urgently set up more clinics across Ontario. According to Lecce, they're also further strengthening protections for childcare centres by introducing additional safety measures, including stricter screening protocols and deploying non-fit tested N95 masks to support frontline workers. The province is also once again providing frontline and critical workers with free emergency childcare for their school-aged children. Phil Martino, City News.
Well, it's not something you see every day at Queen's Park. All of the opposition leaders together at a joint news conference. Here's City's Richard Southern.
That was a rare move, all right. A joint news conference featuring all three opposition leaders at Queen's Park, along with union leaders. Bringing the group together was a call.
I'm with the union, the business behind getting high.
Legislature and do something to fix what they say is a healthcare staffing crisis. NDP leader Andrea Horvath was in attendance.
Our healthcare system is falling apart before our eyes.
So was Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca.
It's important for the opposition leaders to stand together because this is a moral imperative for us to get this right.
And Green Party leader Mike Schreiner.
The system is on the brink right now.
Damn it.
And that is why it is so vital that we are here together today.
Don't click on whatever that is. Don't, whoever that isn't me. I don't know what those links are, what those keywords are. I don't know what that is.
Union leaders at the news conference didn't provide an exact number when asked how many nurses the healthcare system is short. Richard Southern, City News.
So as hospitals across the country,
well, we were short last year and the year before and the prior 3 decades, so I think it's bad.
Tough discussion about health care for the unvaccinated.
This latest wave of COVID is putting yet another massive strain on our health system. And Dr. Catherine,
I either have to tell them, by the way, I'm black, or by the way, I'm unvaccinated.
The ripple effects are devastating as surgeries and appointments are canceled for many others.
Hundreds of thousands of Canadians not get that care. And we've also seen Canadians lose their lives because they're not able to access the health care they need because of the system.
I haven't got medication since
the unvaccinated are driving up hospitalizations.
I'm trying to get medication since September 2019.
About the health resources we're directing to that 5 to 10% of the population, which is having a disproportionate impact on everyone else.
Yeah, all you weak, sick people need to die off.
Care to patients, but it's the situation.
Can you cut off all the fat people? Damn it.
It was a year ago today when millions watched shocking images at the U.S. Capitol.
Oh.
It started with then-President Trump rallying his supporters.
That was a year ago today, too,
You don't have a country anymore.
A short time later, thousands of rioters smashing their way into the Capitol. All in an attempt to try to stop Congress from ratifying the election.
And they told us the guard got hit in the head with an extinguisher. Then they said he didn't.
President Biden laying the blame directly on the shoulders of Trump.
Those who stormed this Capitol, and those who instigated and incited, and those who called on them to do so, held a dagger at the throat of America and American democracy.
225 people have been arrested in connection with the insurrection, while 250 people remain as unidentified suspects. Moment Qureshi, City News.
But if your fucking traffic camera says I ran a red light, you're going to send a SWAT team to my door, eh?
City News 680. Everywhere. What happens when you sleep well? You train.
I'm not sure what the gas price is at. A few days ago, I heard it's going to drop 3 cents to $1.41. I was like, really? And that's liters. What am I? I think I got it already set up. I have something running. I thought I had more news links, but I'll get to it in a second. No, I own rolling papers.
Watch you said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be spinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Watch you said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be spinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Hope the fame and the cars and the jets. I had him thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live the life you would die for. Tell that hoe I can't save her, I'm no lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. Pull up to the spot, they're like, who is that there? Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought, are you dumb? I don't play shit. I killed you and your brother with the same clip. All that bullshit you been talking, boys, ain't you? I'm a different man now, leave your face. While she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be spinning, I be sitting, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart,
smoke yellow rocks out of a Pepsi
I'ma
can.
get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest, yo. First spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell case was in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they give good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers will be dead, but I can never die. The reason why your wife say she better die. 20 minutes in a swisher just to get inside. Yeah, we are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues, I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay blind. While she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. While she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest.
Yeah, if you see weird random things in the chat that are not like normal looking links or whatever the case may be, I don't know what those do, but I have a suspicion it's something like BitTorrent or something. Since I don't use it, I don't know precisely what they look like, but I don't know what the case numbers are yet. Haven't been listening to the news. We could do this at the same time, you and me all together. Ooh.
Yeah. Certain man gotta
move militant.
General.
Another net enemy.
Some better who, when, where, never fix them. I let my dreads hang, put 12K where my teeth at. If you're shorty fiending, then I might just have to fix. I'm the shopper's drug mark booming in the six. How to get it out the mud, community housing. North side of the Rex, places you running out in. Bitches used to laugh at the kid, and I wanna see me. Told her put these on so you can see me coming in 3G. Sure as coming to the money, you looking like Bueller. You feel it's not for everybody, I had to maneuver. We were shooting for the stars, that was that way they were shooting. I go Bob the Builder for the fix up if you acting funny. Yeah. Are you dumb? Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. A nigga wrote a statement on me, who can I trust? No, my mom's and I in a women's shelter, it was just us. A man trying to comfort a kid, I told him head back. Before they start aiming at your head back. You get that? Backhand the back of your head, they tell you head back. They running like they sick in the head, but then we get that. Trying to put a foreign on road, and then we head that. Going down like Titanic, it's high, found where we head at.
Apple losing 1.6%. Amazon and Alphabet down almost 1%. The Dow fell 170 points. The TSX, though, Canada's main stock index, was higher. It was up 32 points to 21,072.
Oh, this is still this
rally for financials, and the price of oil rose 2%.
I got tricked. It's the business minute.
A young mob with me, that would make you say, ooh. 401 to the west, bumping that day east. In my city, little nigga, I'm a don like you. She wanna be my playboy bunny, I guess I'm huge. I came from the Rex where they good with the text. SMS, got a text, now your wife giving neck. Are you done? It's don't get close, so we the gang. It's don't get close, you will get smoked, you cannot hang. I'll shoot his neck, I'll shoot his chest, I'll shoot his back. It's don't get close, so we the gang. Rolled up, be the hardest stove, y'all butter slop, block party turning up, till the dogs blocking up. All of them, we talk a lot, see them and they nodding block. Matching if I had a map, know what I would do to us. Smoke on the clock, I'll be bringing back the Holocaust. Hit them up, long distance, no calling cards. Love me when I pop it up, treat me like a movie star. Now she wanna love me cause I'm back from the metal bars. Cocaine white, like I'm walking around with cotton buds. Treated like an acrobat, flipping and I'm stretching down. Niggas talking like they cheat, all they do is rap beat. Talking all that shit up, been on Snack DVD. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. Battle who, where, never. Are you done?
Some of these, they're all over the place. I know they are. Homeless man stopped, stolen fire truck, whatever. The Domino's attempted robbery. Anytime I see an attempted robbery, home invasion, where the person pulls a gun and then gets shot, I love showing people those stories. It's not that I love that it happens in any event. I just love showing people those stories. Cypress Hill, you know who they are. The Cummins Advanced Combat Engine. I either didn't remember seeing this or I missed it or something, because it's a combination of really old technology, but being used today. It's an opposed piston 4-cylinder engine, so it's 8 pistons and 4 cylinders, diesel. It looked like a little red box, and I think they said it puts 1,000 horsepower out of 14 liters. I got more, but the timing sucks, so let's fill this with music. I don't remember what other links I have. It's too hard. This is Mackie, but it's too hard for me to hear right now. And this is too soft. Hold on a second. This is the church I haven't been to in 2 years. Partially due to COVID, partially because they don't have a lot of money. Yeah, coronavirus variant, blah, blah, blah. I put that one first, didn't I? Okay. Drunk drivers, we got that one. Oh, these run on and on. It's different categories here. Holy shit. I'm going to post this one. Let me leave it for a second. Oh, he ain't done. Damn it. I did it again.
This is my homage to the Zips and 7. With the safe return of in-person learning starting January 17th.
During today's City of Toronto
They'll slip the important shit right in here.
is gearing up to host 4 dedicated vaccination clinics for Toronto school staff, which will be held in 2 of the city-run clinics, happening this Sunday, January 9th, and next Sunday, January 16th. He says school boards are working with the city to schedule employees for appointments. Tory says another tier to the plan is school-based clinics.
More than 27 clinics, including 22 Toronto public health clinics, are now planned to be held in schools over the next 2 weeks to help students, their families, and education workers get vaccinated.
The city also announcing today it hit a milestone for vaccinations, administering more than 6 million doses to date.
It's a kilometer. Rock.
The International Olympic Committee says a positive COVID test may not mean exclusion.
It's a kilo stone. It's a kilo stone.
An athlete test positive shortly before his or her departure. We want to make sure that there is still an option to come to Beijing. Preparation for many years to
Olympics,
be spoiled at the very last minute is something we want to avoid at any cost.
The IOC is promising Olympic teams worldwide the Winter Games in Beijing will go ahead as planned next month. Traffic and weather next.
Do you think our car feels cold?
Yeah, they'll sneak in the importance. They won't necessarily repeat these stories. They may or they may not, and they may or may not come on at the same time slot throughout the hour. But I'm telling you about. So the sports should end theoretically at 17 minutes. Somewhere between 17 and 19 minutes, they're going to tell you freaky shit. And then on the other end of the hour, I think it was sometimes right before the business report or around the 47-minute mark. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What have we got here? I know. So, what did I just post there? So this one here. This one says ultimate. I fucking did it again. Okay, the reason I keep cussing, if you type, let's say, the title of a web page, and then you click the return key to go to the enter key to the carriage return, go to the next line, and then you type in or paste in, regardless of the URL itself, what ends up happening is sometimes it'll get rendered without a space or any gap between them, and it fucks up the hyperlink on websites that do it automatically, like this one. It says it's an ultimate guide. It's got a lot of info. I don't know if it's 100% correct. So freedom of word association day to day, or whatever the fuck it is. So you can find this track somewhere down there. Let me skip it.
I'm in the never fail, excel, and tell you who's winning. I'm course, you lost before the game. First thing, let's go and flow to the rhyme. I'm saying, cause this book will run, you see the crowd. Obey it, might be checking, I reckon they have a second to none. So let's step exactly down to the rhyme. I'm in the never fail, excel, and tell you who's winning. I'm course, you lost before the game. First inning, let's go. I see the stuff, all come, but I see the takes to go on. I'm in the never fail, excel, and tell you who's winning. I'm course, you lost before the game. First inning, let's go. To the line, I'm saying, cause it's good. You see the crowd, obey it, might be second.
Promo code PARKEASY. Spot Hero, where do you park? Next reported 5:31 with the extended forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
Tapering off. It's a cold night, down to -8, wind chill -15, and we're still going to have that wind chill around -14 at the warmest point of the day tomorrow. So it's a cold Friday, and we can think a northwest wind, which will be anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow's partly cloudy, Saturday mainly sunny, and a seasonal high of -2, and then Sunday up to 3 degrees. Now, we do have a rain-snow mix expected. Slight risk of some ice pellets, especially over the escarpment. We've got rain for the Niagara Peninsula, and then wet snow to the north. So kind of a mixed bag on Sunday with that high of 3 degrees, and then dropping again by Tuesday morning, that wind chill near to -30. Overnight tonight, down to a low -8.
What?
And right now in downtown Toronto, overcast -3, feels like -9. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, another update from the province's top doctor today. Kieran Moore says spring will bring relief, but a tough January is on the way.
Gotta get a place.
Gotta get into the market.
I got a growing family. I want to move up. When you gotta get a mortgage, make sure you explore.
Are they going to
all
run
your
2
options.
straight minutes of
North
commercial?
Mortgage, they work for you, not the bank, not the lender, you. And that's why they're so popular with.
It was the Spice Girls or NSYNC or whoever was there, you know, the parents would be outbidding each other like $2,000, $2,500 for a pair of tickets. And I thought, yeah, there's a little difference between that and the kids themselves waiting online in an encampment.
Okay, I think I will just press play for a second and figure out what to do next. Oh, stop fucking doing that, damn it.
20 people, behind DMC and Adidas, a dream fulfilled, a new line of clothing that looks so chill. That's right, y'all, the best of them all. Witness great summer fall, and it's cold. Adidas stuff, all come, but Adidas it takes to go on. A mission never found. Adidas stuff, all come, but Adidas it takes to go on. A mission never fail, excel, and tell you who's winning. I'm course, you lost before the game. First inning, let's go and flow to the rhyme. I'm saying, cause this book will run, you see the crowd. Obey it, might be second, I reckon they have a second to none. So let's step exactly down to the rhyme.
of clothing that looks so chill. That's right, y'all, the best of them all. With this great summer fall. And it's cold!
Terms and conditions.
City News Time 526. Business brought to you by Roger Southern.
Don't like the color of your car? Just hit a button to change it. Sounds far out there, doesn't it? But BMW is coming out with a car that has that very feature. The German automaker says it has now a
That's not going to be a problem, is it?
Body wrap for its all-electric iX SUV.
Who was it that did that thing to you? We're not sure because the car keeps changing color.
The car's exterior, allowing a color shift between black and white, or even light and dark stripes. It works by activating electronic ink in the paint job. The color alternates depending on whether a negative or positive charge is applied.
I read about e-ink
that was debuted at the
in a magazine.
Electronic Show in Vegas today.
Printed on paper.
All right, big
clay
news
and lead
after
and
the
shit.
bell regarding
Cyanide.
GameStop. Yeah, remember that big meme stock craze? Well, GameStop surged some 30+% after hours, topping $170 US per share.
What was
on reports in the Wall Street Journal that GameStop is getting into the NFT and cryptocurrency worlds. The paper reported that GameStop is planning to create a marketplace for non-fungible tokens, often called NFTs, and will also reportedly establish a
I don't want non-fungible tokens. I want fungible currency.
TSX closed higher. It was up 32 points today to 21,072. As traders continue to buy the financial stocks. CIBC up 2.1%, Bank of Montreal up 1 1/3. Price for gold moved sharply lower though, down $35 to 1,790. Oil was up 2%. Wall Street lower again. Dow dropped 170 points. S&P down
like
4.
$30 a gram or something. 25, $30.
19 points on the session. And the Canadian dollar moved up. It's at 78.52 cents US. This is City News.
With 30 years of responsible investment expertise, Desjardins.
Right. And so while you were waiting online and you fell asleep and needed to go to the bathroom, did you just tell your friends, wake me up before you go?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, exactly.
What's happening? No, man, they looking at me. They must have seen me on TNT. Like camera action. You know, this is what's happening. I'm what's happening. Yeah, I'm the new guy. Put both hands up when they ask who I see red when you see blue skies. Roll on my head, now I'm cool guy. To the next drug up in the club. I got down, never grew up. Yeah, came up the pound with too much. And huge butts with his
This is what I need. More problems for no reason. Yep, this is good. This is good. This is good.
I'm screwed up by any means. Don't have friends, have real close enemies. Stupid fucking nights, stupid fucking questions. Stupid fucking apples, kicking stupid fucking lessons. I'm like Jacket, I'm B-Rackin'. Y'all don't know why NCT records. They keep backing, tell them I'm what's happening. Palm to the brain, rookie need an aspirin. Sirens wailing, the lights are flashing. Everybody mashing, we the Titans flashing. Oh man, they looking at me, they must have seen me on TNT. All night, camera action. You know, this is what's happening. Oh man, they looking at me, they must have seen me on TNT. All night, camera action. You know, this is what's happening. Trippin', paparazzi got me stripping, fucking. Through another hit and grab a pigeon, make some friction. I'm first to admit, sex is my addiction. Call Dr. Drew, call Phil too. I think I might need the two of you, cause the thoughts in my brain are all sounding the same. Weed, Hennessy, pussy, and cocaine. Call me John, cause I'm good man. Roll like an ice truck in my hood, man. I'm surfing on the beach.
Time, listen, it was on this date, 2,000 plus.
I did a lot of weed.
It's on the list after round one of the AMBIDEXTROUS.
I got down, never grew up.
GameStop will let you know why shares in the meme stock favorite are rallying after hours. TSX rebounds business at 50 cents.
City News Time 531.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones, brought to you by the Simple Investor. Airborne and Sky in Chopper 680. Here's Jordan Kerr.
Northbound on the 410 approaching Derry, we have 3 right lanes blocked off again, plus part of the ramp lane, all because of a collision.
I was hoping the police were helping animals cross the street
So they're
again.
working on getting that out. Northbound 410 jammed up, Courtney hard to just before Derry, where that issue is. If you're looking at alternates, anything else in the area moving better except for Kennedy. Northbound Kennedy is just as slow as the 410 through the spot north of Courtney Park up to Derry. So take Dixie or Huron, Ontario instead. They're far better. With the traffic center, here is Kyle Hawking.
Our problem on the westbound 401 approaching Mavis in the collectors did clear. We've got volume on the west 401 from approaching Mavis, expressing collectors to Mississauga Road. That's your only busy spot on this side. East 401 a little bit slow from Dixon to the 400 expressing collectors. Also looks busy from Young Express and east of Bayview collectors to Leslie. And then we have fairly smooth drive beyond that. You'll find delays if you're traveling out of downtown on the DVP northbound from Eglinton to north of Lawrence. We also have southbound 404 volume south of Finch to the 401 ramps, and the westbound Gardner Queenie is moving well. In fact, the QE Gardner in both directions just fine. It looks like Lakeridge Roads reopened from Taunton up to Highway 7 following a crash investigation. Just waiting for the all clear on eastbound Highway 7. It may still be closed from Audley over to the 412 because of that same investigation. 2022 can be the year you become a real estate investor. Join the Simple Investor webinar tonight at 7 p.m. and learn about their latest release. Register at thesimpleinvestor.com. Next report at 5:41 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
We're looking at some lake effect snow off to the north end of the GTA. Give it a few hours, that'll taper off as the wind starts to switch direction. And it's cold tonight, down to minus 15.
It's just going to blow in a different direction,
minus
right?
15 all day long
It'll still be
tomorrow. A
happening.
mix of sun and cloud. Watch for some lake effect flurries off of Georgian Bay to the north, but the city will stay dry. Overnight
Should it
tonight,
happen
down
on the
to
other
about
side of the
-8.
lake?
It's minus 5 degrees now at Pearson.
It'll just go away.
City News Time, 5:33.
A day after the Prime Minister promised millions of rapid tests to Ontario, the Ford government says it's still waiting for a firm delivery schedule. But it's also updating its testing strategy, and the province's top doctor held another update today.
City's Mark Douglas joins us to begin our coverage.
Given the high community prevalence of COVID-19, testing is a luxury.
The province's testing network is going to start leaning more and more on rapid antigen testing, so the rules are changing. A positive result from a rapid test is now considered good enough on its own. No more need to follow up with a PCR test if you get 2 negative rapid results 24 to 48 hours apart. You can go back to work or school. Other changes to rapid testing are meant to ease any staffing shortages in high-risk settings. But Ontario officials say the supply of rapid test kits is low. Ottawa has promised 54 million kits this month alone, but we're told delivery dates have only been offered for the first 9 million. And once the kits arrive, they'll be sent out on a
Who's driving the truck to deliver it? Like, where are they?
Hospitals and long-term care homes first, then schools, and the general public last. At Queen's Park, Mark Douglas, City News.
The push is on to get education and childcare staff their third shots. The province announcing today it's accelerating boosters for those workers.
Feds and the WHO already said a third booster shot. Not gonna. I got that link here somewhere too.
Education Minister Stephen Lecce says as part of the province's response to the Omicron variant, starting tomorrow, a provincial mass vaccination clinic at the International Centre in Mississauga will support priority booking for education staff, including educators, custodial staff, administrative staff, and school bus drivers, as well as childcare staff in the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. He also says they're working with all other public health units to urgently set up more clinics across Ontario. According to Lecce, the province is further strengthening its protections for childcare centres by introducing additional safety measures and deploying non-fit-tested N95 masks to support frontline workers. The province will also once again provide frontline and critical workers with free emergency childcare for their school-aged children. Bill Martino, City News.
You added an H.
5:36 ahead of the Canadian Medical Association says it is time for controversial discussions about treating unvaccinated people for COVID.
Hospitals, doctors, and nurses are at a breaking point, according to Dr. Catherine Smart, president of the Canadian Medical Association. She tells the Big Story podcast hundreds of thousands of Canadians are not getting the care and surgeries they need, leading to many deaths, all because of the system overload caused by COVID. Dr. Smart says she never likes talking about not providing proper care, but it's time governments and society have a direct and honest conversation about unvaccinated patients.
We have this small minority, about 5 to 10% of the population, that are leading us to where we are right now. And I think we need to get serious about what we're going to do about that.
She adds there's been a lot of recognition from all levels of government.
5 to 10% of the population are the problem. All these sick people that won't get better are the problem.
Healthcare workers. She says that's very concerning. Cormac makes
I don't have an immune response.
City News Time 5:37. It has been
The
exactly
vaccine's
1 year since
useless,
the
and it
riots
will
on
cause
Capitol
damage.
Hill,
I'm
and
already
today the current
ulcerated over my
president
whole
used the
body, inside
anniversary
and out.
to forcefully condemn his predecessor's efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
On January 6th, a year ago, the day started with then President Trump telling thousands of his supporters if they don't fight.
I went offline and that started, and I was like, I should, then I went to sleep. I remember when I passed out, woke up, and everybody knew already.
Those people then went up to the Capitol building, smashing their way inside. Today, standing on the same spot where the insurrection took place, U.S. President Biden is blaming Trump, not only for inciting the mob, but also for not initially trying to stop them.
We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in a private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing for hours.
Biden saying on that day, democracy was under attack. Momin Qureshi, City News.
Meantime, Donald Trump responding to President Biden's speech.
The ex-president's accusing his successor of trying to further divide America. In written statements, Trump says it's all political theater, a distraction.
Do you not realize he didn't win the election?
Touches turns to failure. Quote, that's what you get when you have a rigged election. Minutes later on the Senate floor.
Yeah, you tried to have it rigged and you still didn't win. How'd that happen? What the fuck happened there? They ran out with the money and didn't do nothing for you.
Schumer says if that and more political violence are allowed to continue,
it will be open season on this grand democracy.
Chew up the whole hour with this.
Washington.
Coming up in 30 seconds, we'll check the price of gas.
Toronto's #1
for breaking news, traffic, and weather.
I don't have the patience. I want to hear it though.
City News 680 everywhere.
You're more than your condition. Ask your doctor about Infocana.
Protect yourself today with Diamond KN95 masks. Lab tested with 5 layers to fit your face securely and filter 95% of airborne particles.
Get out of my
Available
way.
at diamond.ca. That's DYMON.ca.
A Diamond company, Canadian owned, Canada proud.
DYMON.
Gas price update. Empro predicts the price will rise a cent at midnight to $1.43.9 a liter. That's at most GTA stations. Coming up in 60 seconds, a check of traffic and weather together. City News Time 5:40.
I could be wrong, but I think that's the highest I've ever seen it here.
And I'm Pam Friedman.
Pam, if you couldn't get away this holiday season, what would you rather be doing?
Go
Calling the police to come rescue me. That came across really creepy. Hey, Vince, what would you do if you couldn't get away?
You're going to have a field day. You know, the idea, though, that the unvaccinated are becoming the new basket of deplorables. David Will's even our prime minister. It's now being revealed, although it happened back in September.
We got like 90-some%. And they're not happy.
And he had mentioned that the unvaccinated are more than likely misogynistic and racist. And not Quebecers per se. He says they're doing okay, but otherwise, these are the people more prone.
All us half-breed nigger lovers are racist,
indiscretions,
and misogynists.
Overall baggage. I mean, is this the right way to approach things? The name, shame, blame game?
I don't think so. I think the name calling and the labeling of people doesn't change hearts and minds. I think that we do. I'm pretty hawkish on restricting people's access to things who aren't vaccinated, because I believe they're slowing down the inevitable end of this, and they're forcing me to have my restrictions on my life because they won't choose to do it. But I think calling
you hear that?
Names,
we have to force you to do it because you won't choose to do it.
Because they're not, Sure, I'm sure there's some people who aren't vaccinated who are both those things, but there's a whole bunch of people who are vaccinated who are also both those things. So I think it's a little heavy-handed and not very smart.
But you won't address the fact that
the reality,
you are more likely to be what they call racialized if you're immunocompromised and therefore unvaccinated. They won't address that statistically.
42-year-old woman who votes liberal. What do we make of that, Stephen Holiday? I mean, is this somehow, again, it's part of a, I don't know, a misinformation, mischaracterization, or propaganda campaign?
I think so. I mean, look, I by no means am an anti-vax. We're all vaccinated in our family and happy that
we're all vaccinated in our family. Wow, but you can't just speak for yourself. You have to speak for the whole group. Everybody in my family that I told to do what I say under my roof did it.
But there's also this purist movement, the way that they described it. Kind of like the people that shop in the organic section of the store, right? They don't like things introduced into their body. They prefer a natural way of doing things. And, there's some scientific dialogue about that and why they're people's beliefs. But, I do believe there are people out there that really don't like this concept. They don't want to do it. I'm comfortable with them living with the repercussions of their choice, but I don't think that they're doing this because they're racist or misogynistic.
I was looking at that.
Terrible comments. I think they just believe what they believe, and they have the right to not have to do this.
These will fucking kill you.
But they are going to face the consequences.
I'm not smoking them. They are smoking me. And the weed's legal here.
You wouldn't cut them off medical treatment in a hospital if they find themselves there, though, would you?
No way. The same way I wouldn't cut off somebody that's a smoker. People
make
choices in life
because they at least have numbers from insurance companies to back them up when they do that.
We live in a free society, and we have a healthcare system that's the foundation to all of that. And I think there's a limitation. And not allowing them to dine in a restaurant, agreed. Biologically different, right? The risk profile.
I'm immunocompromised. I don't want to sit in a restaurant.
Healthcare is a punishment.
I never did.
think is the approach to this.
Right,
and then there's the acute chest syndrome and the anemia, low oxygen together. I don't want to sit down or be inside.
Counselor for Ward 2 at Tobico Center. On the Oakley Show, more in a moment. 17 away from the top of the hour. Again to the roads we go on a check and chopper traffic.
To 1,788 US the ounce, but oil tapped on 2%.
See, it's been dark for like 2 hours, literally 2 hours, so I forget it's still the business day.
8.53 cents US. This is City News everywhere.
Start 2022 off on the right foot by building a more resilient portfolio. Speak to a financial advisor today and visit dynamic.ca/advice to discover the value of
you got 50 cents for the payphone, bro?
If cancer were a place, nearly the entire population of Kitchener would be diagnosed every year. Right now, one Canadian hears it's cancer every 3 minutes. The researchers funded by the Canadian Cancer Society now know cancer isn't one, but more than 100 different diseases.
I think I just hurt my back standing up and sitting down. On the sitting down part,
all cancers.
Before I actually hit the seat.
Better today and transform the future of cancer forever. Visit cancer.ca to learn more.
Streams of truth from the Sportsnet Now streaming playbook and the Sportsman Life coach. Wayne Gretzky once said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." I don't get it, but I kind of like it. So go ahead.
Because he's got 2 9s on him like Gretzky.
Live stream sports with Sportsnet.
That was very subtly.
I have to say, it sounds like a huge waste of time.
Jeff MacArthur, weekdays at 1. We are 640 Toronto.
The biggest instant crossword scratch ticket is back from OLG, featuring top prizes of $350,000 and 9 puzzles to play. Instant Crossword Extreme has all the excitement you've been waiting for, but it's only available for a limited time. So visit your local OLG retailer today and get your Instant Crossword Extreme ticket before it's too late.
Think about that. They don't have enough money for so 4 out of 5 schools. I believe it's in the province, but it's going to be the same in the city approximately. But I'm pretty sure it's province-wide. 80% of the schools here do not have mechanical ventilation. We don't have money for that. And they finally agreed to start doing a breakfast program for the City of Toronto schools. And then they locked down the city for a year, so the kids didn't go to school. So they didn't really have to follow through, right? Like, It's sort of still an empty, hollow promise. If you didn't catch that, Ontario Lottery Gaming Corporation, or Ontario Lottery and Gaming, they dropped the C for some reason, still has shitloads of money to spend on advertising to get you to spend money that you really, really, really should be spending on, like, food at the local grocery store or corner store, right? Or some masks or some soap or so, like, whatever the fuck. Oh, it's bad out here. You can tell a lot about Toronto's state of health and like economic health from the level of traffic. All I know is every bunch of cars I see, there's one or two that have a headlight out. That means there's no enforcement and there's no way to get the fucking thing changed. It means both those things. And there ain't that many cars out there. There's nothing. There's nothing. But you can go to the store and feed that fix for some sort of socializing. As long as I wear my mask, I got $3. I can buy the fucking ticket. This is the priority.
Officer of Health that you can now return to work or school if you've got 2 negative rapid tests no sooner than, or at least outside of 24 to 48 hours. They've shortened the window of isolation. It was 10 days, I guess, about a week and a half ago, then down to 5 days. Now it's down to effectively 48 to or 24 to 48 hours if you don't have symptoms and you got 2 negative tests. What's going on here? Is it just the idea that this is not science per se, but it's the practical consideration that labor shortages and other such.
Human power. There's not enough people to do all the hours of work.
How do you read this?
Walk up and down my street, there's garbage everywhere.
Making decisions on
weeds, there's tumbleweeds.
There's not too many people that are sick at one time. But the 2 consecutive rapid tests is not a bad idea, except we can't get our hands on any rapid tests. So, I think he's throwing us a bone that we're not ever going to be able to get, right? Like, but I do think they have to be
Ontario
on,
or Canada. Take your pick. Take your pick. City of Toronto, it's all the same shit.
That are sick because they're just going to spread it to other people. And then instead of that person being off, there's going to be another person off.
No, there's going to be 60 other people. What is it? 5 times 6 times 8 or some shit.
Everybody's expecting the government to do it.
It's not going to be one other person. It's going to be 50 other people.
Do it. My company provides 10 paid sick days to every single employee. It's never been abused. It's something that's good for
How do you know?
It's good for the economy and it's good for the public. And I think we should be
one out of 3 workplace accidents don't get reported, right?
People who are sick stay home and they don't spread it around.
Is there an uptake on that? Are you noticing more people away these days just because of Omicron?
Well, we also have an advantage that we're mostly work from home, but we have not had absenteeism. People are able, like, especially
because they're not allowed to go out. You're not allowed to leave work. They know you're at home, motherfucker.
We would say no. You can stay home. You don't have to work. You can take a sick day. But I think that companies need to do that because if we don't, if we all have to do our little parts. And I think expecting the government to step in and do it, they're just not going to do it. So you're kind of chasing a car that you're never going to catch, and I
that was very dog specific.
Which individual company do, and that's an easy one because it won't get abused.
You said something interesting as well, and I'll ask Stephen Holiday because you mentioned, hey, the rapid tests are all well and good in theory, but if you can't get your hands on 1 or 2 or whatever, then it's all a moot point. Earlier today, I see where Aaron O'Toole was basically lambasting Justin Trudeau, saying, we're 2 years into this thing and we're no further ahead. Where were all these rapid tests that we should have had before Christmas time? A lot of people, were waiting on these things to determine their status, and they just haven't come, and procurement is your responsibility. He says we're now back to buying supplies from China. There's a PPE shortage 2 years in. The N95
when were we not in that
been
position?
Made readily available to any and all. Since we discounted the cloth masks, the blue ones. So is O'Toole right to lay the blame at the feet of Trudeau?
That was told to you from the beginning. 2 layers, finely woven material.
Well, I think it's right to take
all the little old ladies with the silk scarf over their face are actually doing it correctly. It's you that's doing it wrong.
Some time to get some answers on them. But excellent point raised on the N95 masks.
look, I was able to scoop a little bit from Costco before they sold out, but those are essential when we go and grocery shop. You've got to have those upgraded masks. That's the medical advice. And the same thing holds for the rapid tests. I've been a little bit critical so far of the government. I mean, I'm looking at the box of rapid tests that my kids got when they came home from school in December, and the test was only manufactured on November 2nd, 2021. So it was pretty quick. It was made and it was put into the hands of students. But we are caught flat-footed because I think these tests are central to how we're going to manage this pandemic. And you talked a little bit about it.
Some of us have fallen arches.
Administrative things that you do when someone gets sick, like whether it's a cold or COVID, the whole family's knocked out. Both parents are at home, and they can't go to work. And if they're in something that is a front or public-facing job, then there's the labor shortage. So I think these tests are going to be central to getting the workforce back into the workplace safely, and also making sure that our economy doesn't have a dip and our services don't have a dip.
Well, we started by talking about how the City of Toronto, in conjunction with the Toronto District School Board, is putting on a full-court press to get as many students, staff, and families vaccinated. So at the schools, they've got a number of clinics. I guess the next 2 Sundays, they're going full bore, and the mayor was saying 3,500 plus people should get vaxxed in this initiative. I'm just wondering, and maybe, David, you can weigh in on this. When do you think, because the province has projected, well, schools will be out for 2 weeks until the 17th of January. If we're going into the crest of this thing, we're told from the health experts, in 4 to 6 weeks.
How do you know it's not getting bigger?
The numbers are still going to be accelerating. By what threshold or, any kind of standard will we see kids going back into schools in 2 weeks?
Boy, I don't know. Because
days, really.
The narrative we get from the province changes quite rapidly, just like the virus is impacting us quite rapidly. But getting kids vaccinated, there should have been a better and coordinated plan. They could have done it in schools. That's what they used to do, to get more kids done.
That's what they used to do with the COVID. That's what they used to do with all the mandatory vaccinations. No, it's not how it works in Canada.
Education workers done before Christmas when we started doing boosters. Because everybody agrees, it doesn't matter whether you're right, left, center, vaccinated, unvaccinated, that keeping schools open is very, very important. It's important for kids.
Okay, well, my classmate did not get his hepatitis B vaccination, and they couldn't stop him from coming to school, and nothing ever came of it. Nothing.
And even if they're working from home, they're not working if they're keeping little kids busy online. So we should have had a coordinated approach, because the easiest thing, the low-hanging fruit, was to boost all the adults that work in the education sector. That would have helped keep kids safe a little bit. It's only one little piece of it.
You couldn't stop them from going on vacation.
Because we didn't do it, we should do it right now if we're going to be closed for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. Stephen Holiday, you that bullish? You think by the 17th of January the schools are going to be open again?
Is this the education critic?
You know what? My kids are home doing online learning. They're doing a wonderful job with online learning, but the kids are not happy. And
they're doing a wonderful job, but they're not happy because everybody in my house does what I say.
2 weeks. I mean, the issue is there going to be
teachers there? Built on my backyard.
Dealing with COVID exposures, or if there is a COVID exposure, are they gone? Again after 5 days.
Side yard.
Everybody goes home. But I think there's more pieces to it. There isn't a vaccine mandate that I'm aware of for teachers, and so booster shots are great, but you got to make sure everyone's vaccinated, and then the teachers. Perhaps they want to get access to the N95 masks, having all that degree of exposure.
Wait a second. Wait a second. So what have they been using?
A stable workplace, a stable school, a stable ability to attend classes in an uninterrupted way, and I don't think that's going to clear up anytime soon. So my prediction is it's going to be a little bit longer. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm trying to be realistic about it.
That was a purported reason that we were delaying the school year from the 3rd of January to the 5th, for those 2 days in there.
I forgot about that. That was just
filters as well as the N95
very
masks
recent.
for the people that wanted.
Welcome to Ontario, but that's going to happen every day.
Was saying anyway,
double time.
Well, we'll wait and see. I just don't think that the 17th is going to see kids back in school, but I'd like to stand corrected on that, and because I think it's that important. Hey, still, while I've got a moment or two on academia, let me ask you this question. It's a strange story, but maybe it's not that surprising. Out in Calgary, a university professor at Mount Royal was just let go last month, even though she's tenured, because apparently she had criticized the Black Lives Matter movement. And she said that there were, in fact, educational benefits to Canada's residential school system. It wasn't genocidal. She disagreed with that.
Right.
And so, for these reasons, there was an online
education
petition,
did they
and a
get?
number of people, 6,000,
Specify. I want to know the curriculum they got. I want you to specify.
Free speech versus
and there's
what is
no.
considered, in the words of the detractors,
Well, they don't have records. Get out of jail free card. You have to.
Wells, I know this is in your wheelhouse. Is this a chill that is being placed on academics and even media commentators rationally? Is it defensible, do you think?
Well, I didn't. The article that I read didn't have enough detail of what she said about the residential schools, which was the one that concerned me
You're
the most.
supposed to.
This nonsense.
Just raise your fist and be angry, Bridget.
To a system that ripped children away from their families and never returned them, and there's so many that were murdered. It is obscene. But all of that said, so I need to know what she said, because if it was factually incorrect and it was hate, then she deserves to leave her job. But I don't think that because I disagree with somebody, I'm sure I disagree with her on whatever she said on Black Lives Matter as well. But I don't think that we have to fire people for that. I think we can have an open debate. And I actually think these things resolve themselves because, if she's wackadoodle, students won't sign up for her courses, and then she goes anyway. But I don't think it just works like that. I do believe that academic freedom and freedom of speech have to be protected, even when I don't like. Is this the critic of the
education? Well, she's a tenured prof, so it's in arbitration. You can't just willy-nilly fire someone. So it would really have to be something offside. As you say, maybe it's short on detail. But Stephen Holiday, do you sense that there is a narrowing of certain parameters that you can discuss topics or in a certain way? Is that happening in academia? I mean, I shouldn't even ask the question. It looks like it's pretty patently obvious, but is this defensible to be doing that, or is it a dangerous development?
This is a really interesting story. So I looked at it online and read some articles on it, and there's a few things going on. Perhaps there are some reasons why there's a separation between her and the university that will be figured out behind closed doors. But the core debate is whether or not academic freedom is being protected. And there's some classical philosophies in that, right? Academia needs to exist free from the government, free from religion, so that science can evolve and that government isn't going to suppress those sorts of things. And I just wonder how customers, which are the students, play in all that, right? So if you have an uprising and people
say, students, the customers ain't paying for this shit.
University change your views, and are they feeling, change your courses, change your people? Are they feeling pressure to do that? I think Canadians need to pay attention to this, but I think it's a worldwide phenomenon. And if you become too customer focused, then the freedom of academia isn't allowed to flourish. And we head down a very dark philosophical path.
What does that mean?
In history, where governments got too close to universities and politics got too close to universities.
I'm not talking about politics.
Pay attention to.
It's about genocide.
All right.
It's the same statement over and over. Genocide.
No, we got to go. I'm told we're out. So you guys are just going to have to wonder what it was that I was going to ask you. It's probably my pièce de résistance as well. David Will, Senior VP of Media Profiles. Stephen Holiday, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Ward 2, Etobicoke Centre. Thank you both so much. Another great day for Talk Radio in the books. Thank you to Dave Spargala, Technical Operator, Michael Downey, Producer, and to you. Back tomorrow after 3 to wrap the working week. Look for you then.
I'm the least Machiavelli in person, I know. Actually, I want to hear this news update. Let's see what they got to say.
They're at a brink of collapse.
Oh, no, it's 6 o'clock.
A remote First Nation community facing a COVID crisis. How bad is it? An incredible number of cases and how they're coping. Coming up.
You're just going to glorify.
This is City News 680 everywhere. It's Thursday, January 6th. I'm James Monroe.
I'm Charlie Close here, so let's make news right now.
The spread of Omicron forces Ontario to rely more and more on rapid test kits.
You do not need a PCR test to confirm that you've got the illness.
All the changes coming up.
Why would you do that to confirm you've got it? Are you people retarded?
Boosters, home education, and
Jesus.
According to the province, dedicated COVID-19
You're going to be the
booster
one in
clinics
like
for these
10 or
workers
15 million or billion that it got a false positive that was actually not. That could have gone back to work. It doesn't work that way. You're doing the math wrong in your head.
COVID-19
How many?
update just ahead.
World update.
On their day off, the Leafs place forward Nick Ritchie on waivers,
Who?
and
What?
Novak Djokovic remains at an Australian hotel today. Sports 15.
A crypto crunch and a Wall Street money loser. Investors were generally in a selling mood in the penultimate trading day of the week. Business at 27.
Penultimate.
City News Time 6:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones brought to you by City in the Chopper. Here's Jordan.
Around the 410, we have a couple of issues at the 410 in Derry. So first of all, northbound 410, just before the Derry overpass, 3 right lanes still blocked off for crash cleanup. A couple of trucks were involved in a crash, and one of them went into the ditch. So that's the main issue here. Northbound 410 is jammed approaching Courtney Park towards Derry. Alternates are now moving very well. Even northbound Kennedy looking a lot better at this time. You can rejoin at Derry to be on the other side of this. And the other issue is actually affecting the Derry ramp to southbound 410. The westbound Derry ramp to southbound 410 is closed off all because of a crash. From the traffic center, here is Kyle Hawking.
Problem on the eastbound 401. I just got sight of this. Approaching Weston in the Express. It looks like 3 left lanes are affected with a crash here. We do have, it looks like at least 3, maybe 4 vehicles on the left side, and then we have 1 in the middle lane. So really, it's just that single right lane that's getting by fully unencumbered. The other 3 lanes occupied with at least portions of vehicles involved in this. So you'll find it heavy already from Dixon to Weston as you head into the express lanes. The collector lanes, as they split off east of Kipling, are moving much better. And then past that, the east 401's in fairly decent shape. The west 401 is busy approaching Mavis Express and collectors to Mississauga Road. And you'll find it a smooth drive on the Huey Gardner into and out of the city, but still busy northbound the Don Valley approaching Eglinton to north of Lawrence. And we have a closure of Yonge Street north of Bloor from Davenport to Belmont for sinkhole repair. City News 680 is Toronto's #1 source for local news coverage, available on all platforms. Watch on City TV, listen on the radio, and connect with us online. City News everywhere. Next report at 6:11 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramsahai.
All right, tonight we're down to -8, wind chill -15. Some flurries to the north. That's going to taper off here a couple of hours. Tomorrow's partly cloudy, -6 though. That's well below seasonal, and we'll have a wind up to about 50 kilometers per hour. So it's going to feel like -14 at the warmest point of the day, and we'll get some flurries up around Georgian Bay. Overnight tonight, down to a low of -8. It's currently -5, feeling like -11 at Pearson.
City News Time 6:03.
Province's COVID testing network has been getting crushed by the fast-spreading Omicron. So the government is changing things up. It's relying more on rapid tests and reducing the self-isolation time.
City's Mark Douglas joins us with the latest from Ontario's top doctor.
Because Omicron is pretty much everywhere now, rapid antigen testing is more meaningful.
1 positive RAT test would confirm. You don't need anything else. You do not need a PCR test to confirm that you've got the illness.
Ontario Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore.
2 negatives 24 hours apart would allow you to return to your work environment or your school setting.
And rapid testing will now be okay for screening and test-to-work policies in high-risk settings like hospitals and for screening at schools. But Ministry of Health officials say the province's supply of rapid test kits is quite low. And while Ottawa has promised about 54 million kits in January, delivery dates have only been offered up
all this shit that everybody needs all of a sudden is going to shut down fast because there's not enough people.
He says if you've got symptoms of COVID,
that correlates so strongly
cascading
with the high
failures.
probability of you having COVID that you don't necessarily need confirmation.
At Queen's Park, Mark Douglas,
No,
City News.
that is confirmation. No,
has announced
the test was confirmation. You knew you were sick. You could.
To the variant, it'll be providing greater access to booster shots for education.
You got to try like 6 pregnancy tests too. The first 5 are effective.
James is starting tomorrow. Education staff, including educators, custodial staff, administrative staff, and school bus drivers, as well as childcare staff in the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, will have planned access to vaccines at the International Center in Mississauga. They can book an appointment through the provincial vaccine booking line. Education Minister Stephen Lecce says they are working with
We've heard the horror stories about these phone lines.
Set up more clinics across Ontario, and they're also further strengthening protections for children at child care centers by introducing additional safety measures. The province is also once again providing frontline and critical workers with free emergency child care for their school-aged children.
Yeah, but in Russia,
City News Time 6:05, the head of the Canadian Medical Association says it's time the country had tough discussions about treating unvaccinated COVID patients as the Omicron variant.
Can you make it legal to slap people that touch their mask?
Canadians are losing their lives or getting ill because they can't get
I mean when you're trying not to, like this, and then grab a doorknob.
Catherine Smart, the president of the Canadian Medical
Here's your
Association,
latte.
tells the Big Story podcast, 5 to 10% of the population have led us to this point by not getting vaccinated, and it's time we have an open conversation
That doesn't even make
about their
sense.
health treatment.
As a society, we have made a decision to allocate resources disproportionately to this group of Canadians at the expense of other Canadians, including children who are now.
No, that doesn't add up, because if we just hit 1 million cases, did we hit 1 million or 2 million?
Choice, but it is a choice.
She adds she never wants to talk about not providing full care to patients, but serious discussions are needed as hospitals, doctors, and
You literally blame the same number of people that got sick.
McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Meanwhile, record case
Feel
counts
free
being
to yell at
reported
your
around the
screen
globe as multiple countries
quietly
struggle
if
to
you're
stop
at
the
work.
spread of Omicron. City's Michelle Mackey joins us live. Michelle.
James, the World Health
By the way, for the first 2 days, it was Omicron.
2,600,000 new cases of COVID-19 across the globe over the past 24 hours. That's a record high, with North and South America showing the largest jumps. And in the U.S. today, ABC's Alex Stone says airlines continue to cancel and delay flights by the thousands due to COVID spread among employees.
Following JetBlue's lead after it canceled around 1,300 flights through mid-January. Now, Alaska Airlines says because of
A lot of time it takes you to go take a piss and then find a beer between commercials.
10% through the end of January. It says that will give the airline the flexibility it needs to reset.
In Europe, meantime, France has approved a new vaccine pass, meaning COVID tests and having recently recovered from COVID will no longer be enough to get you into restaurants, bars, and other public places. Austria will also be increasing COVID-19 measures, with masks now required outdoors. And the government is reportedly working on a draft law to make vaccinations compulsory from February 1st as the highly contagious Omicron variant spreads across the country. Reporting live, Michelle Mackey, City News.
It's a day of reflection in the U.S. with the 1-year anniversary.
I'm going to watch some World War II documentaries after this.
1 year ago, then U.S. President Trump standing outdoors in Washington, D.C., rallying thousands
and the gas price is $1.44 or something.
You're not going to have a country anymore.
Who then marched up the street to the Capitol building, where many of them smashed their way inside, trying to stop the certification of the election. Standing in that very same building this morning, U.S. President Biden putting the blame squarely on Trump for the insurrection.
For the first time in our history, the president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
Insurrection.
As a violent mob reached the Capitol.
That sounds like the reverse of something. It sounds bad.
They failed.
During his lengthy speech, Biden did not refer to Trump by his name.
Am I supposed to give a fist bump for that or not?
Kazakhstan's neighbors are offering military assistance.
Russia says some of its paratrooper units have now arrived in Kazakhstan to help its president quell the mass protests there. The Moscow-led alliance of former Soviet countries is sending troops following an appeal for help from Kazakhstan's president late Wednesday after protesters challenging his authoritarian rule overran government buildings across the country. It's estimated several hundred to a few thousand Russian troops are deploying, alongside several hundred from Belarus, Tajikistan, and Armenia. Patrick Regal, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
And we'll check gas next. This is City News 680.
Switch from your current alarm provider today and save. The Monitoring Center reviews say it all.
Security company sales, advertising, marketing is going up.
Switch to the Monitoring Center sooner. Call us today or visit us at the Monitoring
Just think about it. If you're not home,
for a free
you are somewhat detached from the issue of someone breaking into your house. You know, like, what did they steal? If you're in your house and someone breaks into your house, all of a sudden there's potential for you to be the victim. You want a button you could press to have a security company show up, because the cops won't show up for a single zone alarm.
Me? A mortgage? The bank won't give me a mortgage. Before you assume anything, you owe it to yourself to explore all your options. At Northwood Mortgage, they not only offer
give the gas price
rates, they are more flexible than the banks. They take the stress out of the
doivent être protégés contre eux-mêmes. Est-ce que c'est d'abord dans une logique bienveillante que le gouvernement annonce ces mesures? Est-ce qu'il peut y avoir d'autres raisons? Je demande l'avis au professeur de philosophie à l'Université McGill et président de la Commission de l'éthique en sciences et en technologie, M. Jocelyn McClure. M. McClure, bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Mme Bémola.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez du fait que le gouvernement serre comme ça un peu plus la vis aux non-vaccinés?
Oui, il faut reconnaître qu'on est dans une situation de crise, là. C'est difficile de rejouer dans ce film-là, mais les hôpitaux débordent présentement et on a l'impératif de pouvoir offrir des soins à toutes les personnes qui en ont besoin, qui ont besoin d'être hospitalisées ou qui ont besoin de soins intensifs. Donc, des mesures très importantes, même draconiennes, me semblent justifiées. Des mesures qu'on doit tous respecter, mais qu'il y en a aussi qui sont ciblées, qui visent les personnes non adéquatement vaccinées, parce que c'est vrai que leur responsabilité, il ne faut pas se le cacher, est très importante dans la crise actuelle. Donc, ça me paraît justifié qu'il y ait des mesures ciblées. J'ai moi-même proposé l'idée d'une extension des domaines d'application du passeport vaccinal. Mais là, il faut voir dans quel secteur exactement et on pourra en parler si vous voulez, mais j'ai quelques réserves par rapport à viser, par exemple, les succursales de la SAQ ou de la SQDC en premier, mais une application plus large du passeport vaccinal me semble être une bonne solution à ce stade-ci.
Bien justement, pourquoi avez-vous des réserves sur ces lieux qui sont visés et qu'est-ce que vous auriez privilégié, vous?
Oui, donc l'idée d'utiliser un passeport vaccinal
aux
personnes adéquatement vaccinées de retrouver des libertés, des possibilités sociales, une vie sociale plus riche, tout en réduisant considérablement les risques de transmission du virus, étant donné que ces personnes vont interagir seulement avec d'autres personnes qui sont adéquatement.
Décidément, l'année 2020.
D'activités où les personnes sont à l'intérieur, passent beaucoup de temps ensemble, dans des contextes assez à risque, dans des salles à manger, au cinéma, pour aller voir des spectacles, des événements sportifs. Et là, il y a des vrais risques.
Les discothèques avec mes amis.
D'abord et avant tout, la SAQ et la SQDC, c'est que c'est pas des environnements qui sont très à risque, considérant que les personnes y passent peu de temps, que les jauges font en sorte qu'il y a peu de personnes qui peuvent y être en même temps, on porte le masque, donc c'est pas lié à un objectif de réduction des risques.
You keep leaving weird comments. I'm going to keep leaving weird comments under that, and it'll look like I'm having a conversation with all sorts of people to the analytics, and this video will just go, and then all these links will probably get hits, and then probably like half the people will buy Bitcoin from you. So.
Qui pose problème, que ce soit
moins
la diminution des risques de transmission.
Donc, je vous avais demandé, vous auriez privilégié quoi d'autre? Parce que les restaurants, les salles de spectacle,
this is not crazy. It's good. This is I mean, some people prefer this. So I don't know how to phrase it. Some way to knock you on your ass.
À être vacciné qu'à être non vacciné.
Or make you like super high, too quick.
La SAQ et la SQDC maintenant.
There ain't nothing wrong with this. It's just sort of a milder ride. It's still going to get you there.
Pour pouvoir sortir de cette période de confinement qui est très large.
It didn't exactly look quite like that.
S'impose étant donné la situation critique dans les hôpitaux, mais il va falloir aussi en sortir et l'usage passeport vaccinal va nous aider à retrouver des possibilités sociales. Moi, les exemples que j'avais en tête, spontanément, lorsque je pensais à quel secteur aussi utilisé, j'ai été surpris d'apprendre, par exemple, que dans les salons de coiffure, le passeport vaccinal n'était pas déjà exigé, parce que c'est quand même un environnement en risque. On est proches les uns et des autres et on y passe quand même une période de temps considérable. Donc, c'est ce genre de milieu-là. Moi, comme professeur à l'université, j'enseigne à des étudiants qui n'ont pas montré une preuve de vaccination pour pouvoir inciter à leur cours. C'était le cas du moins à l'automne. Maintenant, évidemment, on a basculé à l'enseignement à distance, mais lorsqu'on va reprendre l'enseignement en personne, on est donc plusieurs dans une salle mal ventilée où on passe des heures ensemble et je pense que le droit à l'éducation c'est très très important, mais je pense que ceux qui devraient pouvoir bénéficier de l'enseignement en personne devraient être des personnes adéquatement vaccinées et les autres devraient pouvoir suivre en ligne en même temps.
Il y a des milieux de travail aussi. Là, évidemment, ce qui complique beaucoup la situation, c'est la pénurie de main-d'œuvre dans plusieurs domaines, mais lorsque c'est possible, d'exiger une preuve de vaccination pour que des personnes puissent venir travailler.
So driven to keep listening. I thought I was going to turn it off, but I got to listen.
Mais pour les autres aussi.
Oui, d'autres mesures pourraient venir. Hein. Peut-être que le gouvernement pourra s'inspirer de vos conseils.
Vous avez
dit ce qui a été mis en place semble à la fois inciter les gens à se faire vacciner, semble avoir un aspect punitif aussi. Donc, pensez-vous vraiment que les récalcitrants pourraient décider d'aller se faire vacciner à cause de ce qui a été annoncé aujourd'hui? Pensez-vous que c'est encore possible de convaincre, rendu à ce point-ci de la pandémie?
Oui, c'est une bonne question. Je pense qu'il y a différents chemins à l'éducation vaccinale ou même à la récalcitrance, à l'opposition. C'est certain que pour ceux qui sont les plus convaincus sécuritaires et qui ont différentes croyances sur la vaccination, donc, eux, je vois mal comment les braquer de la sorte dans une approche qui est une approche punitive déguisée. Il faut bien le dire. Je comprends qu'on n'a pas employé les mots de les emmerder comme le fait le président Macron, mais c'est difficile de ne pas penser à de la justification. Je vois mal comment eux vont être convaincus de se faire vacciner en se faisant traiter de la sorte. Donc, je pense pas que ça va être efficace. Pour d'autres, il y en a malheureusement, puis on l'a vu dans les derniers jours, il y en a qui demeurent d'une façon qui est difficilement compréhensible après presque 2 ans de pandémie, mais qui ne réalisent pas la gravité de la situation, peut-être qui procrastinent. Donc, peut-être que eux, une partie de ceux-là pourraient être incités à aller se faire vacciner. Et il y a d'autres aussi citoyens qui, pour des raisons complètement différentes, l'information se rend moins à eux, peut-être qu'ils
je ne suis pas un citoyen, je suis un sujet comme le maths et les anglais. Pardonnez-moi, madame, je ne veux pas aller au bureau.
À leur rencontre. Donc, il faut qu'on ait un portrait plus nuancé des raisons de
Donc, vous semblez encore confiant qu'une portion de ces récalcitrants-là pourrait être convaincue. Peut-être une dernière question en conclusion, M. McClure. À long terme, je ne parle pas de cette mesure-là en particulier, mais est-ce que cette question risque de créer une certaine rupture dans la société, une division en tout cas?
I didn't pull out any to put in the fucking thing
sont déjà profondes. On le voit dans le contexte pandémique, mais moi, ayant aussi beaucoup intervenu sur des questions liées à la laïcité, aux accommodements raisonnables, et ainsi de suite, ça fait plusieurs années que je m'inquiète de la polarisation au sein des sociétés. Et là, on a un exemple particulièrement tragique.
One very nice thing about this.
Les décisions des uns mènent malheureusement des décès, des hospitalisations, et ainsi de suite. Donc, cette polarisation, elle est déjà très profonde, elle est accentuée par la pandémie et c'est un de nos grands défis collectifs pour les prochaines années parce que la pandémie, effectivement, vient approfondir des lignes de fracture.
They don't wait for a call, but they got the biggest source of them all.
Les régimes démocratiques.
Jocelyn McClure, je rappelle que vous êtes professeur de philosophie à l'Université McGill, président de la Commission de l'éthique en sciences et en technologie. Je vous remercie beaucoup.
I want to be very careful not to light up the whole flower at
L'heure
once.
du monde est disponible sur l'application Radio-Canada Audio.
C'était jour de commémoration de l'émeute insurrectionniste du 6 janvier 2021. Aujourd'hui, ce jour-là, des milliers de partisans de Donald Trump prenaient d'assaut le Capitole de Washington avec
Book your booster today and keep doing what we already know keeps us safe. Protect yourself against COVID-19. It's up to all of us. Learn more at ontario.ca/COVID-19. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
I wondered who would keep paying for things about Ontario like that.
Vashon has an RV program for all trailers, motorhomes, and park models. When you're not using your motorhome, they'll send you a check back. It's like a pay-as-you-go policy. Be surprised on how much you can save. Ask the experts at Vashon for details. Vashon Insurance Group. Home, auto, commercial.
I just want to store some transmissions somewhere.
Your insurance broker. Vashon Insurance Group. Call 416-239-3373. That's 239-3373.
Yeah, I cannot continue that. Oh, you know what might work is classical. Up the tires over here, no. Is it a clarinet? Flute? It's not a recorder, is it? Look like a Smurf. They all look like Smurfs when we put on these hats, eh? Well, this one especially because there's
Great
no
ensemble and featuring Suzanne Schulman, the flautist. Stroll Irving Glick is Suite Flautist. The circle dance, arguably nearly
follow any rules.
20 years, but we still have the music here at 6:21. Here with the Oasis on a Tuesday evening. My name is Mark Wigmore. Quick check on weather before we get you updated on traffic. Slight chance of flurries tonight.
I'm not laughing at his name.
-8.
I'm laughing because I know the average person has something to say about that name.
Flurries up to 2 centimeters.
And they don't understand that it's his name, so he's heard the name itself. He's heard 1,000 times, and the people say it's something ridiculous. He's also heard 1,000 times.
Flurries again. The high -5 in Toronto.
Oh, those were sirens. This is on the police. Do it again. Do it again. You're off the beat, man. It may have been an ambulance, actually. Yeah, they tend to use they will tend to use the sirens selectively, the audible. I really don't want to burn a seed in my pipe, right? Because it's a waste of like 1,000 pounds of weed or some shit, like 1,000 times 1,000 or some shit, or 100 times 100 times 100. Oh dear, oh dear. So I've posted up a whole shitload of links here. That train wheel one is I find that very interesting because I mean, I don't know how to put this. I couldn't have told you that just by looking at it, but I could see that's how it works because the rails are crowned and the rim of the wheel is curved. So there's like 3 dimensions, right? But in this plane, in this direction, it's curved this way and this way. So the 2 of them will always balance out as long as everything's sized appropriately to the job and everything. It'll basically not derail as long as everything's loaded properly and blah, blah, blah. But it's self-balancing. When you hear it screeching, it tends to be when it's going around a corner, either 2 wheels going at the same speed effectively, but rotationally, but probably the one on the inside is going to squeal because it's going faster, or the flange could be hitting the rail, but it does. The flanges are not holding those trains on. I'm sure they would hold a lot of weight. I don't think you can push a train sideways off the track without, like, I don't know what you would use, but whoever these people are, don't interact with them, man. Like, I mean, interact if you want, but like, don't actually interact. You know what I mean? Don't send them money. Don't buy nothing. But I don't know what those are. They look like some weird type of like disassembled link or disambiguated link, like they're trying to get past some sort of filter because they all got the same similar sets of letters and shit. They all got a period right there. I can't use this now. Why is this not working? That was if I clicked it. Oh, there it goes. I don't remember everything I posted here, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 minutes, 7, 8, 9. That's more than I thought. 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, did I count? 16, 17, 18, 20 something, 20, 28, 30. I'm going to count it as 30, but oh, what did we just do? Scroll to the point we went full screen. Now, hey, YouTube, I got a question. I got some questions here. Yeah, I know, it's 6x4, but it's almost the same as the TV, isn't it? So, I don't know why the video is, it's 960 by 740 or some shit. I don't know why it's 4x3. Okay, now look at the opening on the screen. It has black bars on each side. Now look, for some reason when the browser zooms out, now you made the browser and the website, and you got this here. This. What is going on with this layout? Like, look at that. I know nothing's perfect, but there's nothing in that space. What's it there for? If I drop this bar down now, so. See, it looks ridiculous, doesn't it? Doesn't it look ridiculous from a website? Oh, did we get a slightly bigger video screen? Barely, yeah. I don't think so. I don't think it really counts. That's too late. The business report, I don't believe we'll have anything more useful for us. Gas prices up, and did they say gold was down? 17.9, so 18. So, what is it, like 31 grams? If it was 10, it would be 300. What was it, $60 a gram? 50 bucks a gram, real close. 50, 55 something bucks a gram. For what? I don't understand. I didn't go out looking for a gold watch, by the way, and it's a finish. It's applied. It's plated stainless steel. So the underlying metal, so I don't know about cost, but the underlying metal was stainless steel. And the gold plate on the brushed stainless steel looks absolutely incredible, actually. I don't think you can get that exact same look with just solid gold. Weren't they playing an insurance commercial?
Beautiful music for a crazy world. The time is now. Get your COVID vaccine booster shot today. Visit toronto.ca.
Time's always now.
Or call 1-833.
What's the time? The time is now. Now what?
The world gets crazier. The
time is now 23:26.
On the new classical 96.3 FM.
You heard it too, didn't you? The whoop and then stop. Like, you ever go to like say hi to somebody, you realize it's not them, or you don't want to talk to them? Maybe it is the right person. Hey, oh shit, that's what that sound was on that window. Okay, I got a list of engine codes, not the OBD type codes, but I think there's 9 or 30 fucking engines I was looking at, and the only one that wasn't what I was looking for was the one that comes from the factory on CNG. I just don't see them now. See, they've been giving us 7 minutes, so the first 3 minutes is basically weather and shit, but they've been stopping at about the 7-minute mark to start talking about Trump. They've been fitting the gas price in at the 9 minutes and 39 minutes. And there's been the business minute at 13 and 43 or whatever. So there's news. There's things we need to know. How are we gonna do this? Okay. I don't even want to fucking try. Fuck. I gotta see if I can make this. Excuse me. It looks like a boombox, but it's got a shortwave receiver in it. It's got 2 antennas, so that's technically a dipole antenna, I think. But regardless. I got 2 antenna wires, and if that don't work, I'm going to string phone wire across bamboo. There is a channel. I don't think I linked to it at all in any of these links. Technology connections. And somebody says, why don't you just use phone wire for thermostat wire? And he says, I don't know. Telephone wire is 26 gauge. And thermostat wire, I believe, is 22. I don't remember the exact number. I just remember it's a smaller gauge, which means it's a thicker wire. So electricity is funny. This will carry between 48 and 96 volts easily. So it tends to, so for example, this phone cord here holding my device to the internet is rated for 150 volts. However, with 26 gauge wire, the current will be very, very, very small. I forget the exact, it's measured in milliamps. Okay, that's how small it is. So everything about the telephone system has always been about it basically comes down to minimizing how much electricity it takes to make something happen. So ringing the phone, the mechanical bells, those with the phone company is where you got your handset from way back when. They didn't want you having your own handset that you just made yourself running off their system, because the amount of, for one reason, you might put in some different kind of bell. Okay, I'm going at this in a weird way. There was an airline, I forget which one, I think it might have been United. There was an airline that was giving salads on their flights, and they figured out that they had to save $10 million a year for their budget. Don't click on these things or whatever they are. And they discovered that all they had to do was eliminate olives from the salads. Now, I don't know how many olives you get in an airline salad, but when they added up how many olives they didn't pay for when they stopped putting them in the salads, they got their $10 million. The electricity is a similar way. So you don't use 26 gauge wire when it says 22. I believe it's 22. Because you can get 14 and 16 in the wall carrying. Oh, so by the way, yeah, that's the other thing. So there's it gets complicated quickly, but there's typically a transformer probably inside the furnace, because your furnace probably has electrical connections to the electrical service panel. And just like they tell you, if you have a pacemaker, don't mess with your phone wires. There's enough current and voltage in telephone wires that could mess up your pacemaker. Also, if there's a large enough surge of electricity, let's say lightning hits the wire or a nuclear bomb goes up, theoretically, a huge amount of electricity could come through that wire before the wire melted. So it would ground out through you, or the collapsing magnetic field would make the electricity happen. You would smell ozone. So when they step it down with a transformer, it's a little tiny transformer. If you don't know what transformers look like, I don't know, it's a little brass-looking thing with wires on it. They step it from, I believe, 120. Yeah, it would be 120 to, because there's 240 at the panel, I know, but there's 120 to 24 volts. So you would, if you were using the same wire, you could carry theoretically 5 times the current, sort of. It's not that simple. There's a whole bunch of other shit that goes into that. But the end result is, even though it's 24 volts for your thermostat and 48 to 96 on the phone line, the thermostat wire needs to be thicker because it's carrying more current. It is also running all the time. There's always some power draw coming off. Your phone doesn't technically draw power all the time off the phone wire. Most devices don't. There's like a whole bunch of counterbalance considerations with that shit. They're gonna repeat the same stories. Oh, I changed it, right. Why am I doing it this way?
Day at the YMCA. The Village People hit real big with YMCA, January 6, 1979. You know, at its peak, the Village People were selling 150,000 copies of YMCA a day. Plus, Peter Frampton.
You people were on a lot of fucking coke, eh? Holy shit. Gotta give me that YMCA single.
Here on Boom.
I love working out, but I've already been gifted enough kettlebells to crush my workouts.
Get a hump.
proper EQ. I got these weird preset buttons. I didn't change it. This is English. What the hell? Oh, that's an effect of the lens. I keep thinking it's on set. I'm very sorry. I'm going to interrupt this because the fact that they're singing in English is really throwing me off.
This is all of us. Someone call the bluff. Bombs in the supermarket. This is all of us. This is.
So what do we say to make a song popular? I don't know, just say crazy shit. Like what? Like what would piss your mom off? There's bombs at the supermarket. Is this what I just heard in your lyrics? Like that's... Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so, we're talking out today, and I think he was right in saying he's raising the temperature to deflect from his own failures during the pandemic.
The more that we can take the temperature down here, the better for getting vaccination levels up. Mr. Trudeau mocks and actually attacks people that are unvaccinated, calling them misogynists and others.
Somewhere there's an ad
firm. Get
firm,
more people vaccinated.
and there's a guy just like this.
No, it's not. It is not. And most people in this country are actually fully vaxxed. Enough certainly that we should be at herd immunity. But, it's clear the vaccines absolutely help reduce illness, but they don't stop the virus. And they certainly aren't getting us out of it, as we have been told. Otherwise, we wouldn't be locked down again. So, maybe it's time we stop tolerating
Thank you for your logic,
and actually start to get answers from guys like Justin Trudeau. And, how many vaccines do we actually have to get the freedom back? Because I don't know about you, I'm willing to get a third booster, but I'm not doing 2 shots a year for the rest of my life. That's just not going to happen.
You do 2 shots a year for the last year.
But let's be honest, curfews, as we're seeing in martial law Quebec, they don't stop COVID. Mandates and vaccines won't stop COVID. Cutting people off from getting weed won't stop COVID, because guess what? The black market doesn't need a vaccine passport.
Yeah.
And
This is the vaccine passport. One of these to cover your eyes, maybe some sunglasses.
Internally as being popular policy ideas, but they're not going to stop the virus.
We wash the money.
Should get shots,
we literally put it in the sink with soap and water. We're not joking. Sometimes it comes in with blood and shit on it.
We're in this mess because of the bozos in charge, including the Prime Minister. They all remain clueless on how to respond to a pandemic that they were warned was coming, that we knew was coming after SARS, because we wrote all the pandemic preparedness reports.
Bozo's in charge. I don't usually have a lighter. I just got a mnemonic.
And of course, before this pandemic, Trudeau, as you'll recall, it's, I think, forgotten now, he was spending 3 weeks trotting around Africa trying to buy a failed...
No, he was with the con.
This was not a priority for him.
Aga Khan or something.
And I don't understand why. And I wonder, those who hate Trump and fear what happened...
He didn't know he should take gifts of millions of dollars from charities.
They seem to fail to realize that his uprising is a result of the political games and the cancerous things like identity politics that have been weaponized to score points, but divide the country.
It's flat.
Trudeau has strayed. Back in 2014, 2015, his talking points were
legalizing weed.
Those who disagree with you are your neighbors. Listen to them.
That means you can reach them. Go get them. Holy shit. Be careful of your words, bro.
Racist, women-hating, anti-science heathens.
Canada fired all the scientists. 2 Pakistani female journalists have died mysteriously on the waterfront in Toronto within a year. Well, 2-3 years ago now.
And this growing divide, it's also driven by a lack of accountability. Once upon a time, a $16 orange juice would get you, an end to your political career. But now, the Prime Minister gets away with doing all the things he actually accuses others of doing. Who blows billions on
just remember, anybody that got judgments of anything I'm doing or failing to do, I'm going to send a food bank. Don't criticize me. I ain't getting millions of dollars for this shit.
Whereas a feminist fires
$339,000 contract for street sweeping. No street sweepers.
I mean, this is a guy who's been found contempt of basic ethics more times than I can count. That would land the rest of us in jail. Yet there's no accountability. So Trump is a product of the games we keep letting our own prime minister get away with. So will we see an uprising like we did at Capitol Hill? I certainly hope not. But there is a divide in this country.
It's not something to joke about because we had a Parliament Hill shooting in 2014. It's not a joke. They need to wake up and realize that guys like Trump come to life because politicians forget who they work for. They're accountable to us. They are hired to represent all Canadians, even though they find the ones that are intolerable. They're supposed to serve Canadians, not their own ideologies. And the sooner all politicians start serving their constituents' needs rather than blindly following their dear leader's agenda or what polling tells them will fuel their base, then maybe we start healing the divide. Whoa. You throw the word healing in there, and all I can think is a fucking yoga center.
Because at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to see Capitol Hill resurrection, but we are no one to wag our finger at our neighbors next door.
They're not next door. They're downstairs.
Busy day of news. There's a lot of stuff I have not been able to get to today because it's just I don't have enough time in the show. I would literally need like 6 hours. I don't think you want me for 6 hours. But coming up on the other side, the conversation that is finally taking hold. Parents finally pushing back. And I think it's important to know 88% of those 12 and up fully vaxxed. 45% of kids 5 to 11 now have their first shot. That is crazy high numbers. There's no reason they shouldn't be.
So just remember, for those kids, that's normal. It doesn't matter what you or I think. To that kid getting these shots, COVID, that's normal now. That's just normal for this generation. It's too late.
Charge and what she's doing next. Stay here with us. Alex Pearson on point, and this is Global News Radio.
Taking a look at the roads with
I can't remember there's so many names. I can't remember which soldier died.
On the go on the 410 North Planetary Road and ongoing.
I can't remember which soldier died, but this person with a gun ran up onto a monument, a war memorial. This is Canada, so and there's 2 soldiers there guarding a memorial. It's called I think it's called the Honor Guard, and they've got a gun, big gun, with no bullets because this is Canada. They're in full uniform. Yeah, and somebody shot them, and one of them died. And then he ran into Parliament Hill. And then we got a story that said there was like this cowboy type of one-on-one duel between. So the person's job title or position or whatever is Sergeant at Arms, and apparently he does have a gun in his desk, and he's never been pulled out of his desk before. And then a year later, we get a completely different story with no reference to the first story or why we were told that. This is why every time they come out with some big thing that's happened, like terrorist attack or anything, I criticize it all to hell. I say all sorts of crazy shit because I know in 6 months or a year we're going to get a different story. And it turns out that actually like a dozen RCMP or whoever, it doesn't really matter who they were. They all have basically the same gun. It's basically an AR-15. Some of them are fully automatic, some aren't. They don't call it the AR-15. It's got a different mechanism and so forth. It's made in Canada, and the version they make in Canada gets used by Royal Guards around the world, and that one's fully automatic. So yes, they will fill you full of holes before you can blink. It's about 700 rounds a minute or some shit. And that because that's what the guy had was an equivalent type of what they call an assault rifle. I forget what it was now, and I don't believe them anyway. And since then, the Canadian Force, so amongst other things, the Canadian forces were ordered not to wear their uniform. They shouldn't wear their uniforms when they're not on duty. And that goes along with a different rule that says dog tags are to be worn, quote unquote, next to the skin, which means under a shirt, presumably if you're wearing a shirt. In Canada, where women can go topless, anywhere men can go topless, but they never do.
What's best for them? The deal actually is, if you have bad credit, should just settle for an older car and higher interest rates. Or is there a better option for you?
I heard the hook.
From WeFindYourCar.ca and find out all the answers to all your questions this Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m.
How'd you get my car?
Experts Hour. Call us live with any questions you may have about new or used vehicles, and you will get answers to help you save money. WeFindYourCar.ca.
I just want to know how the hell you're going to give me credit for a car. I don't believe you.
Desjardins Industry.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But it is still a bit slow. We have some good news on the West Sound Dairy on-ramp to this.
Because everybody's doing traffic and sports at the exact same fucking time. So if you're not from here, all this crazy shit I just said, and we heard about politics here in Canada, how crooked it is and shit, I should be all fucked up. Oh man, it sucks. We gotta do it. No, this is how it is. Get fucking used to it. If you try changing it, you're gonna be the one getting shot. Then they did a test. I forget. Was it the OPP or the RC? I forget who did what, but somebody did a test where they parked a random rental cube van out front of the CSIS headquarters for hours, and illegally parked. Nobody checked nothing. Then we have the Toronto 17/18/19, whatever the fuck it was. Then there's two other weirdos that want to blow up a VIA train or whatever. I don't think they cared what train it was, but they wanted to blow up a passenger train on a VIA rail corridor, where they come over the border, just on this somewhere where they come just inside of Canada. So if you're wondering, sirs, why we walk around like gangsters, it's so nobody tries to kill us without thinking there's not going to be consequences. That's all. What? This may seem silly, but if the claim's that high on that, I should use this little one. Why are you flashing video card driver thingy? Son of a bitch. The brow sewer, yes. Like radio brow sewer. Damn it. There's no way I misspelled it. I'm hitting one button at a time. How'd that happen? I do have an orange. I should try to balance that up. He did smoke 2 packs of cigarettes in an hour, but he also ate an orange. I don't want to mess with anything. Every time I press buttons, something goes wrong. So I figured out how to get radios a different way from what we were doing before. See, my brain don't work right. Hello? I don't know what that means. Oh fuck! I got shitloads of books. Books are heavy. I don't want to pick up books. Frankenstein. I wonder if I get away with just like reading Frankenstein in an audiobook. We'll use that copyright. I need technical books. I don't need them, I just want them. If I touch that button, is this fucking thing gonna flip up? I could turn on the Wi-Fi here. Why am I? I'm building a castle in my head. Not a castle for like the romantic Disney type of story for princes and princesses. I'm talking about like
Good evening, I'm Christine Ross with the 7 o'clock news on the new Classical FM. -6 now, feels like -12 with a wind chill. Cloudy, some flurries possible tonight. Winds will die down. A low of -8 will feel like -15 overnight. Ontario residents with COVID symptoms can leave isolation sooner than the required 5 days if 2 rapid tests come back negative. But getting your hands on one will be a challenge if you're not on the priority list that now includes long-term care, hospitals, shelters, some education settings, and workplaces with vaccine or test mandates.
Testing is a luxury. Monitoring your symptoms is what every Ontarian should be doing. If you've got a fever and or cough and or the minor symptoms of nasal congestion, headache, fatigue, muscle aches, and joint aches, that alone has a high probability of being COVID at present.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kieran Moore says the province is seeing increased demand and low supply of rapid tests, with plans to expand access to the public in the coming weeks. He adds there are good trends in intensive care. Length of stay has dropped to 6 days from 13 back in December. Dr. Moore says this will be a tough January, a better February, and spring will bring relief. COVID outbreaks are hitting long-term care homes in almost all 34 public health units, with staff absenteeism rates of between 20 and 30% in some areas. Minister Rod Phillips says there are currently outbreaks in 186 homes, 65 of which have no resident cases, but he expects the number will continue to rise. Phillips adds staffing is a concern.
But are you testing the whole? Are they testing them? We assume because they have access, but are they testing them?
Due to virus exposures and infections. Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole says
Motherfucker, I was listening to this.
To be vaccinated should be accommodated through measures like rapid testing. O'Toole is accusing Justin Trudeau of fueling vaccine hesitancy by attacking those who have not received their shot. The Prime Minister has said that Canadians are angry at those who refuse to be vaccinated because they're filling up hospital beds, causing cancer treatments and elective surgeries to be put off. President Joe Biden is forcefully condemning former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election that Biden says sparked the violent breach of the Capitol a year ago today. Sagar Meghani reports.
For the first time in American history,
The president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
President Biden says Donald Trump spurred his backers to attack the Capitol and democracy itself by spinning a big lie that the election was rigged in a bid to ease his ego.
He's not just a former president. He's a defeated former president
who continues sowing anger and division, his voice rising inside the Capitol Statuary Hall, which rioters stormed a year ago. The president vowed to stand in the breach.
I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Donald Trump is hitting back in a written statement accusing Biden of trying to further divide America and repeating his unfounded claims that the election was rigged. The FBI has arrested a man accused of stealing
the person who rigged it
unpublished
just didn't win. That's
among
all,
them
I think.
works by can-lit legend Margaret Atwood and actor Ethan Hawke. The thefts occurred primarily over email by a fraudster impersonating publishing professionals who targeted authors, editors, agents, and literary scouts who might have drafts of novels and other books. The man arrested has been identified as a 29-year-old rights coordinator for Simon & Schuster UK. A settlement has reportedly been reached in a class action lawsuit against the Royal Winnipeg Ballet.
We having the access. Who gives 4 minutes of news?
At the suit, allegations that a former teacher took intimate photos of students and released them without their consent. The company has agreed to pay $10 million on behalf of itself and instructor Bruce Monk in exchange for a dismissal of claims against the two. A court hearing for the approval is set to take place February 11th. The Royal Winnipeg Ballet has not independently commented on the reported outcome. Classical FM weather forecast. It will be a cloudy evening with a chance of flurries. The winds will become light. A low -8, feeling more like -15 with the wind chill. Friday, another cloudy day. Again, chance of flurries, gusty winds. A high of -5. Winds will die down at night. Chilly low of -13. In Toronto now, it's -6, but with the wind chill feels like -12. -2 in Cobourg. In Collingwood right now, -9 degrees. I'm Christine Ross. You're listening to the new Classical FM.
It's like prickly on the ears, man. Canada doesn't have a BBC 1 and 2 and all that shit. We don't. I gotta. a recording of me trying to sort my head out with all this bullshit.
Venait d'abord la mélodie, la grille harmonique, le rythme.
Disons, dans des pièces plus cosmiques, là, je pourrais dire, qui ont vraiment rapport avec grands domaines, parce que ce qu'on vient d'entendre, par exemple, où il n'y a pas presque pas de section rythmique, il y a vraiment c'est aérien, et c'est bien pour jouer de la flûte, ce genre d'ambiance-là est très... Alors, ces pièces-là ont été faites, surtout celles qui sont vraiment avec des sons de synthé, c'est que j'ai des synthés que je n'utilisais plus. Je voulais même les vendre. Et j'avais l'idée de faire l'album déjà. L'album, Andromède, c'est un voyage ailleurs. Si on l'écoute du début à la fin, il y a tout comme une histoire. On est dans l'espace, on vient sur la Terre, il y a un vaisseau qui décolle. Et ça n'a rien à voir avec des riches qui vont dans l'espace. Mais je pense qu'ils ont du fun à y aller. Je pense qu'ils ont un plaisir à faire ça, malgré que ça fait beaucoup de pollution. Là. Donc, au départ, ces pièces-là, j'ai branché mes synthés pour voir si c'est encore valable, s'il y avait des bons sons. Puis, j'ai enregistré. Puis là, j'ai branché l'autre synthé.
For the rest of January. Israel, meantime, is set to remove all countries from its no-fly list imposed upon the discovery of Omicron after data shows community spread accounts for 95% of infections. And in France, a new vaccine pass has been approved, meaning COVID tests and having recently recovered from COVID will no longer be enough to get into restaurants, bars, and other public places. Reporting live, Michelle Mackey, City News.
City News Time, 7:07. It has been exactly 1 year since the riots on Capitol Hill.
On January 6th, a year ago, the day started with then President Trump telling thousands of his supporters if they don't fight like hell, they won't have a country anymore.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats.
Those people then went up to the Capitol building, smashing their way inside. Today, standing on the same spot where the insurrection took place, U.S. President Biden blaming Trump, not only for inciting the mob, but also for not initially trying to stop them.
We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in a private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing for hours.
Biden saying on that day, democracy was under attack. Momin Qureshi, City News.
And Donald Trump has responded. The ex-president's accusing his successor of trying to further divide America. In written statements, Trump says it's all political theater, a distraction, that everything Biden touches turns to failure. Quote, that's what you get when you have a rigged election. Minutes later on the Senate floor,
Donald Trump today continues to spread his poisonous vial.
Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says if that and more political violence are allowed to continue,
it will be open season on this grand democracy.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
I'll check gas prices next.
This is City News 680. Start the new year as a new you by making better sleep your New Year's resolution.
Okay, I'm going to type
easier
the
than
gas
you think.
price into the
Because at Sleep
fucking...
Country, we offer financing with flexible payment plans so you can get the essentials you need to sleep better. Best of all, you can finance your entire purchase, even the taxes. Our plans are hassle-free with no deposit and no interest. Learn more online or in-store and wake up to better sleep. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
Now the City News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will rise at midnight to 143.9.
Your roof sprung a leak. Water came through, shorted out the furnace, the radiator too.
Hey, stuff happens. And when you need money now, and I mean right now, there's PrudentFinancial.net.
If you need money in a hurry, PrudentFinancial.net. Get money quick, just one click. PrudentFinancial.net.
Our rates are way cheaper than a payday loan, and they help to improve your credit score. When you own your car or home, get a loan up to $50,000 fast.
PrudentFinancial.net.
Hey there, I'm Todd C. Slater, president of The Simple Investor.
People ask me all the time, why do I do my own commercials? And the answer is simple. I want to be able to tell you that for the last 12 years.
François, merci infiniment d'avoir pris le temps de nous accorder cette entrevue. Je rappelle que ton nouvel album. Ici des
Holy fuck.
Well, my crazy chicks love McNasty. I never ever could understand. Oh, he's the center of every party. He never gives another guy a chance. Before you know it, he done got two chickens, took a clean away from you, boy. I don't call him hip, he's sort of a flip. One leg is a crip, his mind's on a trip. He don't have a pad, he didn't know his dad. His temper is bad, so don't get him mad. But all the time you hear the women really calling his name. Filthy McNasty. He once got his kicks by putting on chicks. They're kind of chicks would rise to his lips. But those days are gone, he's carrying right on. With his line of code, he's still a don one. But all the time you hear the women screaming his name. Filthy McNasty. He's gained lots of fame. McNasty's his name. Shout out what I
Originally released on Doing the Thing back in 1961, you just heard Horace Silver's Filthy McNasty, performed by vocalist Bobby Sharon. Born in New York City, eventually fell in love with Toronto and decided to relocate there permanently, which is a similar story for jazz singer Jody Drake. Originally from Detroit, just a hop, skip, and jump away from Canada's biggest city, by the time she played Montreal, she was an established jazz and blues singer with this big name band. She had the skill, energy, and stage presence of a professional performer, and was one of the first to introduce Toronto to a raw blues sound. And even though the city wasn't prepared for what she had to offer, she decided to stay, eventually hosting her own CBC TV shows called Gene and Jody. They'd invite these top jazz cats of the era to play. She performed on stage and screen and would always, always speak out against discrimination against Black people and performers in Toronto. Here she is with the Halifax Quartet for the moment from 1995's In My Soul. Here is Archie's Bop Sour Sop.
What? Okay, don't spoil the illusion. No. I don't know if we're gonna like it or not. So just instead of bursting my bubble right now, we'll deal with that later. That's better. That clanky shit was too much. Nice thing about paper records, you get fed up with looking at them, you can feed them to fire, compost bin or some shredder. It's in my way. I don't have a whole lot useful to say that isn't in all these links, do I? This is side effects of the bandana on the face. I look like a Tintin villain when I get on with it. It goes like this. Building in a truck at the same time. It's all getting confused. The truck doesn't need a suspension, or the building doesn't need a suspension. The truck does. See? The truck doesn't need a foundation, and the building doesn't need a suspension. I'm pretty sure. I know I got more links, but it takes a really long time to scroll through them. Right, I need something I can write a label on. Oh, son of a bitch. Damn it. There's gonna be like a fireplaces ad. I can feel it. There's gonna be an ad for a fireplace. I just feel it. It was loud. Was that a sleep? Damn it. No.
Vikingur Olafsson with the Siggy String Quartet. Music by Philip Glass. That was his Etude number 2. Before that, The Winds of the Festival of the Sound. And music by Beethoven. This one, do you know, in E flat. You are listening to A Little Night Music. I'm Kathleen Kajioka. We will return with some Bach and an amazing guy named Bieber after this.
Hey, Snow, tell them about the City of Toronto's residential snow clearing programs.
In the city, results we drive away, so you can stay safe and go about your day. Then we'll keep an eye on the snow at the fall. So no worries, you don't need to call. Cause when the snow reaches state centimeters tall, we'll be coming round your way with the plow.
Visit toronto.ca/snow for more information.
The Shaw Festival presents its 60th season, featuring Gaslight, a spine-tingling thriller. Bella has been hearing strange sounds at night, and the gaslights have started dimming by themselves. Is she losing her mind or being driven out of it? Don't miss Gaslight, the newly adapted tale of death.
Turned down. I thought people lit them when you thought they were off was gas lighting. Wouldn't it be like gas light, turner offer, turner downer, dimmer, gas dimmer? You're a gas dimmer. Every time I pass out and you go home, I wake up and the lights are all turned down. You turn down my lights. I'm looking at a list of these engine codes. I'm not confused. It's the same 3 engines. I don't care right now. It says 2000. So what I got written here, it says Generation 4, but God only knows this is a factory natural gas thing. 2013 CNG. Okay, the LC8 6-liter 366 cubic inch. It says it has active fuel management, variable valve timing, and it'll run. It says flex fuel. I assume that means E85. Although technically, if it runs on gasoline and compressed natural gas, then you could call it flex fuel, I suppose. But I believe that means it's E85. It's the only one on the list here that doesn't have a compression ratio. But if it does have both fuel systems, if it retains the gasoline system and that will accept E85, which I'm not sure if it says flex fuel, but that's not a very specific term. I gotta look this up. The chances of finding this engine are slim. But somebody's got to make the exact same top end to put on it. It'd be the fuel putter inners would basically be different. And this would be probably the biggest actual on engine thing. The carburetors. It's the only one here that didn't give a compression ratio for. All these other ones, let's see, 6-liter. I'm trying to time it with the commercial here. 6-liter, 9.6. Start at the top. LQ4, 6-liter, 366, whatever. The 4-inch bore by 362 stroke, 9.4 to 1. LQ9, 2002 Escalade, same engine. Well, not really. 10.1 to 1 compression ratio. Where are we? LY6. It says Generation 4 2007. I don't fucking know. Square. It says square ports. So if you care about that, yes, I understand. The ports are pointed on some of these engines, and on some of them it's sort of square at the top, which makes them rectangles actually. And that cathedral. I don't know if cathedral is the right word for that. Well, I guess cathedral ceiling. I don't know. Active fuel management, variable valve timing, flex fuel, which is probably has got to be E85 for this one. LY6. 6-liter 366, 9.6 to 1. So what were we at? 9.4, 9.6. The high output engine for that Escalade was 10.1. Down here somewhere, L96 2010, 6-liter, blah blah blah. AFM BVT E85, 9.6 to 1. This one's missing, but I would like to know what the compression ratio is for their factory standard compressed natural gas version of the engine. And I wonder if they make it stuff. And because that would save half the trouble if it also has the gasoline fuel system. If it doesn't, then I'm not so sure if I'm interested, because then I have to figure out how to add a gasoline system, and I don't want to do that. I only want it because you guys figured out how to do it really well. Otherwise, if I could do it well myself, I wouldn't use gasoline. And why put natural gas in a diesel engine? And the diesel can be used to burn off all the oily crap in biodiesel. Gaseous fuel doesn't have to be messed with as much to make it disperse evenly in the cylinder and the ports or whatever. If I remember correctly, it's got a much higher compressed natural gas has an octane rating of 130, which you're going to want good spark plugs, electronic ignition, everything clean inside there, and high compression ratio, probably. But there's also that you can just compensating with cubic inches, because this is so I've got all the 4.8 and 5.3 liter iron blocks listed here too, but that's 12 more. I'm not joking. No, it's 12. I don't know how many more. Because I was thinking, since all three of these engines, it says 4.8 liter 293, but I think I might have seen that once in my life somewhere. Without doing significant any milling work to the heads or changing the connecting rods, crankshafts, any of that shit, if you use something to put a very mild amount of boost on the engine, because these engines are tuned to run when they're on gasoline as naturally aspirated. But it would be nice to be able to pack a bit more fuel in there, because natural gas has less energy per less energy per volume or weight. I don't remember which one. That's why it's a different price per. That's why it's different. Everything's different. But I figure it would be really good for cold starting. Maybe I'm wrong, but if you have enough battery capacity to get an ignition source, I talked over it. And I also figure a truck chassis with a big V8. They're not technically big blocks, but it's easy to call them big blocks compared to a 1.6 liter. 3 of those doesn't even add up to 3.4. 16 cylinders. You still don't have as many cubic inches as these trucks. So you want to get the biggest tank you can get, but also the lightest. It is the most expensive. So you might as well make it cheap to drive it around. And one of these big, huge gas guzzlers that somebody else is selling cheap because they can't afford the gasoline no more. That's my thinking on this. It's not a weed seed. On the plus side, I got the guard towers built for my concrete castle thing I'm going to build in my head. I think I'm building. You got to go up in layers, right? Up and up and up and up and up. You ain't invading my castle. I'll let a fight. You might get in.
That was a radio under Kevin Mallon with music by Giovanni Battista Sammartini, the presto from his symphony in F. You're listening to A Little Night Music. I'm Kathleen Kajioka. Now, before the commercial break, I referred to a guy named Bieber. Nothing to do with the now-grown child star from Stratford. I'm talking about Heinrich Ignaz Franz Bieber, phenomenal violinist and composer from 17th century Austria. We're going to hear from him in just a couple of minutes.
You have him on the phone?
Italia. There was a phase back in the 17th century when composers were really into depicting battles. Well, there were a lot of wars going on. This is actually quite a fun, whimsical take, and you're going to hear at a certain point some chaos, and this is the sound of different soldiers coming from different regions playing all their own little folk songs all at the same time. It's really crazy. Keep that in mind right now, though, as we hear the more organized music of Bach. This is the Courante from his orchestral suite number 1.
You're starting now. Okay, shit. No, you think I'm joking. I got like the tunnels and masonry and shit all figured out. You got no idea. I gotta figure out too, we can just build out around other people's shit. Just in the middle of the night, we'll finish it. get engine blocks and castle braces. Paper clips. I own a box of paper clips somewhere, so I'm gonna use them. Fuck. Show off. Oh, it's on both sides. Shit. I apparently build a lot of things in my head. And it doesn't matter. What do I need for this one? Just pencils. Damn it. I just figured out what this is. It's a fucking valve spring off somebody's engine, I think. Oh, shit.
The tired and wounded soldiers at the end of Heinrich Ignaz Franz von Weber's Italia. That was played by Il Giardino Armonico, music from the 17th century. Before that, some Bach, the Courant from his Orchestral Suite No. 1, played by the Academy for Alte Musik, Berlin.
You're listening to A Little Night Music. I'm Kathleen Kandrioka. So much more to come. We're just getting started, so stay tuned for
Depends what kind of. Is there a fireplace commercial coming up?
After this.
The biggest instant crossword scratch ticket is back from OLG, featuring top prizes of $300.
You blow my fucking buzz. You depress me. You attempt to. Yeah, this I found it in the gutter. Yeah, I would like. I gotta. What the fuck is that? Out of context, like what the fuck is that? But on second thought, it does closely, very much resemble a valve spring, because I noticed that the ends are flat, like very flat, and I can't think of anything else I would stick into. Yeah, and you can't really compress valve springs with your. One of these links, I think I mislabeled it as 5.3 or LS or whatever. They're all the same fucking shape. You can get them in aluminum, you can get them cast iron. You could probably make one out of like plastic and fucking 3D fucking print it if you really wanted to. And there's channels doing weird shit like that too. Plastic pistons, plastic cylinder heads. Why the fuck not? I don't know where I'm going with this. So it says here, Generation 3, 1999, 2013. So fucking LR4, 4.8 liter, 293 cubic inch. Yeah, you never fucking heard of it. You know, you're like, yeah, somewhere in the back of my head. A long time ago, they had the 4.3 liter V6. So you say 4, I think of a V6. The bore 3.78 is the same as the 5.3 liter 325, but the stroke is 3.27 inches instead of 3.62. And in one of the videos I believe I threw up there, it's Speed Car 99 or something. He explained what it, but he says the pistons are different and the bottom end is different. So the pistons are totally flat at the top. It says both of these here, that and the LM7, both of the 5.3 liter, both have 9.5 to 1 compression ratio. So 3.27 inches stroke versus 3.62 inches stroke with the same bore diameter. So it's the same piston size, but that's but the compression ratio. So it says the compression ratio is the same, but it depends on the pistons and cylinder heads and everything else. But I've also seen another video where I had a question and these guys answered it, and I think it cost them some money, but probably gets them more views on YouTube. And fuck, it's some like truck religious channel. I'm so sorry. They use the same initials as the engine, LT, because those are his initials. Fuck. I think it might be Horsepower Nation or Power Nation or some shit. I don't remember. So this guy has, I believe it was 6 liter. It might have been bigger. I don't fucking know, because I'm writing down the cast iron engines. Why? Because I don't want the engine block to crack if I put in gasoline and natural gas at the same time and the engine burps and blows the intake manifold off. That's made of plastic. I'm not worried about that, because even if I can't exactly fix it myself, I know it's not going to be a cheap part, but it's a plastic part. It's not going to be impossible to get. What else were we looking at? Also, aluminum dissipates heat, and I'm trying to build heat in a winter type of engine, because this is for something where I live, where it's somewhere between plus 10 and minus 15. But he managed to put the heads for I believe it was a 6 liter, I could be wrong, 366, that's what I have the numbers here for anyway, onto a 5.3 liter 325, and that managed to fit somehow, but it didn't. And I have a hard time believing he didn't check everything. Your amazing new engine project. Wouldn't you look at it like 50,000 times, lining up, going, yeah, that's going to be perfect, and looking at it just over and over? Would you not know? But apparently, the heads will fit on each other. 3.78 inches bore versus 4.00 inches bore. That's where the big problem. That's where the big problem was. Stroke 3.62, 3.62. It says, and these are truck engines, no relation to this guy's sports type engine, which happens to be in a truck. 9.5 to 1 for the 5.3 and 9.4 to 1 for the 6 liter. That's LM7 and LQ4. It says 1999 to 2013 Gen 3. Why? Because those will be old, they'll be cheap. They're not difficult to get running. Oh, you are a little bastard. I'm going to deal with you. I swear to God. I was nicer to your friend, but you've really irritated me. You gotta be kidding. This is not a pleasant situation to be in. The end point was there's so I don't know if everything's standardized 3 inches or 76 millimeters or whatever the fuck it might be, because that's what the exhausts look like. Even on the diesel engines, looks like 3 inch. It's easy to work with. They vent fucking generators for buildings the same way, 3 inch steel pipe right out through a wall. Brick wall, of course, masonry, some shit, fire stop, all that. And screens keep birds up. But they turbocharge all these diesel engines, and some of those are straight 6s and some of those are V8s. They're all big, heavy iron blocks. Now, I thought that the smaller displacement engine would actually handle the boost better, because I'm not talking 30 pounds boost. Enough to overcompensate for the natural gas being short on energy. And basically, the smaller displacement engines, if you see these engines side by side, you'll notice it's the same fucking engine, but it's if the cylinder is smaller, then the block is thicker. In this case, it's a good thing. Okay? It's not always a good thing. Sometimes it's a really bad thing, but in this case, it's a good thing. And that might be why you don't hear about this 4.8 liter, because for its size and therefore also power output, it will be a very heavy engine, no matter what you do. Just bore it out and turn it into, I don't know, a 6 liter or a Hemi or some shit. I know I get my brain working again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13. But one of them's natural gas, so it's 12. I'll trust that view camera. I want to try hitting up the Beijing hour, but I almost don't want to hear what's going to happen. But I don't know what I want. I don't want to hear it. It's going to be the opposite side to all the North American rhetoric I heard today. Sort that out in any useful way anymore. Put this on top of that mentally. Literally. Should try something. Not. I won't touch anything. Damn. What the fuck just happened So I'm a monkey in a cage. I think I just figured this out. Oh god damn! I had a banana earlier. Like you would have seen it, so I could get this shit to work. I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, I like this idea. What the fuck is this? I know what the fuck this is. Okay, I think I understand what this is. There's gonna be a shelf. I'm not putting on talk radio. I don't care if it is from China and they are telling the truth. I don't want to hear it right now.
Bruno Weil leading TEFL music in the Allegro SI from Mozart's Symphony No. 40 in G minor on the new Classical FM. You're listening to A Little Night Music. I'm Kathleen Kajioka. It is time for our Composer of the Week. Every week I throw the spotlight on a different composer, and at around about this time, just after 8 o'clock, we have a listen to some of their music. I tell you about their lives, and we get to know them just a little bit better. This week,
pieces and find a better quality way to listen to it. This is not ideal. But the thought that just occurred to me is the music's always ideal. I'm not going to type that now because it's going to take 4.5 minutes.
His one big hit, the D minor oboe concerto. Tommaso Albinoni, whose big hit he didn't even write, that Adagio in G minor. Yesterday, Leo Delibes' Flower Duet. Tonight, Jeremiah Clarke, the English composer responsible for the ever-popular trumpet voluntary for Prince of Denmark's March. He has a biography shrouded in unknowns. Where or when exactly he was born is among the facts we don't have. The first indications of him may be an inscription of his name crudely carved in St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle.
Credit for
all we know for sure about his early life
property, and
was
you
that
can't
he was
even
a boy
prove you were
chorister
born.
in the Chapel Royal at the time of James II, 1685. What this does tell us is that he was a student of master composer John Blow, who also taught Henry Purcell, who would have been around the same time. Jeremiah Clarke became an organist, a handsomely paid one at that, at Winchester College, and then at St. Paul's in London. He would eventually take over his old teacher's post as Master of the Choristers at the Chapel Royal. In addition to his one big hit, Clarke authored music for the theater, as well as many church anthems. Working for St. Paul's and Chapel Royal, he would have written many pieces for royal occasions. Here's the anthem he wrote for the coronation of Queen Anne. It's called Praise the Lord for Jerusalem.
Fuck, I've been working on that the last 5 minutes and I wasn't.
On the new classical FM, the Academy of Ancient Music and Choir of New College, Oxford, with Praise the Lord, O Jerusalem. That was an anthem by our one-hit wonder tonight, Jeremiah Clark, written for the coronation of Queen Anne. Now, to the big hit, the Trumpet Voluntary. That was written in 1700 in honor of Queen Anne's husband, the Prince of Denmark, which is why it's also known as the Prince of Denmark's March. For many years, this piece was credited to Henry Purcell. After all, he was much more famous, and having studied with the same teacher, John Blow, wrote in a similar style. Let's hear a bit of some actual Purcell before we listen to the Clark. This is his famous trumpet tune.
Say yo after that. You already got it.
Stéphane Bollac on trumpet, Vincent Boucher on organ. That was the trumpet tune by Henry Purcell, which until 1940 was thought to also have been composer of the hit Trumpet Voluntary, actually written by Jeremiah Clark, who's our one-hit wonder tonight. I think you'll hear the similarity in style as we listen to Clark's trumpet piece. And now here it is, such a familiar tune, ever popular at weddings, even royal weddings. This is one-hit wonder Jeremiah Clark's Trumpet Voluntary.
It's a voice over IP type of router. I couldn't figure it out at first. Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Once again, trumpeter Stéphane Bollac and organist Vincent Boucher with the Prince of Denmark's March, also known as the Trumpet Voluntary, by our one-hit wonder tonight, Jeremiah Clark. Though the beginnings of his life are not known, the very end of his life is very well known. He shot himself in a mad frenzy over a broken heart. A full account of it was published a week later in a broadsheet headlined, "A sad and dismal account of the sudden and untimely death of Mr. Jeremiah Clark." Tune in tomorrow as we learn about the biggest one-hit wonder of them all.
I thought I liked both of those songs for a minute there. Now I don't know which one I didn't like.
You're listening to A Little Night Music. I'm Kathleen Kajioka. We'll take a break and then return with some music from Scotland right after this.
One-hit wonder, he shot himself over a broken heart.
We're proud of our country and the many securities it provides,
apparently it's the oldest story in show business.
John Graham is the CEO of CPP Investments. John, tell us about CPP Investments and why it's important to Canadians.
CPP Investments is a global investment management firm that invests the funds of the CPP that pay benefits. Those funds right now sit at around $500 billion. Those funds, CPP Investments, we're here to contribute to the financial security and retirement for generations of Canadians.
How does the CPP fund compare to other pension funds?
CPP Investments is one of the most sophisticated pension plans in the world, with performance that would consistently put us in the top 10 globally. Our investment approach, our governance structure, really is recognized as best in class, and the fund is sustainable for at least 75 more years.
Learn more about
the Ontario Teachers Pension Fund
and
is like
CPP
a new
Investments
gang
commitment to
starting
you.
up, and
Go to
then you got lots of other little unions and pension funds and shit all over the place.
Live life on your terms, independent and safe.
Pulled together
with
is a
Red
lot
Dot
of money,
Personal
but they're
Alert
individually
Solutions.
not as much.
At home or on the go, Red Dot provides peace of mind, knowing that help is only seconds away if you ever need it. Developed by seniors and proudly partnered with Bruyere Continuing Care,
I want an old person on like a CB radio responding.
Covered 24/7.
Showing up with a handicap plate, parking right up on the sidewalk.
Landline required. Learn more and get connected at red.alerts.ca. For wine collectors and enthusiasts across the GTA, we are proud to introduce Diamond Wine Cellar, offering beautifully appointed private wine cellars, elegant tasting rooms, and a premium members lounge designed to be as elegant as the wine you store. Diamond Wine Cellar is perfect for wine tasting events, personal entertaining, or catered corporate networking events. Unwind in the elegance of Diamond Wine Cellar today, located in Etobicoke, on the Queensway across from IKEA.
Wish you could feel calm and focused? Now you can get daily support for mood, energy, and concentration.
Oh, no, I'm thinking about like musicians committing suicide and shit. Like,
including natural
I
calm
like it that bad.
magnesium.
No,
Just
I
add
got it
hot
good.
water,
Good.
let it fizz, and drink
I
day
just
or
can't figure out
night.
how to feel it.
Naturally
Green.
berry flavored Calm Balance.
Green
Get
orange.
yours where
I've never
natural
seen
health products are sold, or go to naturalcalm.ca. Natural Calm.
No, that's an apple.
Profits
That's
go
an
to
apple.
Thrive, formerly Organics for Orphans.
A CARP Education Moments.
Have you had your flu shot? I'm Bill Van Gorder, Chief Operating Officer for CARP, urging you to be proactive by getting your flu shot today.
From the advertising.
Getting yourself and your loved ones vaccinated for influenza is more important than ever. CARP is concerned that this flu season may be a twindemic, with COVID and the flu together, creating the highest hospitalization rates in years. We want you to know the flu vaccine will greatly reduce your risks. And for folks over 65, the National Advisory Committee on Immunization recommends the high-dose version. The flu vaccine also helps reduce the spread of flu to others, your loved ones, and the community. Some of whom are at great risk of serious complications. The more people who get the flu vaccine in your community, the less risk to everyone when it comes to getting influenza. Learn more by going to carp.ca/influenza.
All those people like got mad at me when I mentioned that people were breaking the protocols. They're social protocols now. That's all it is. They're health protocols, social protocols. You see what's happening now with people not listening? This is what's happening. Vaccine or no vaccine, people are breaking all the protocols is what the problem is. If you have a ventilation system, it should be running, it should be on. If you have air filters, they should be cleaned as best as they can. All that shit should be done all the time. It shouldn't be like this. It's 2021. You get Canada and the schools don't have ventilation. The jails and the hospitals do. I got a lot of ideas looking at that ductwork. They got ductwork for the inside running outside. How the fuck did you do that without it falling apart? They can do it. Really enjoying the set. Okay, I gotta bounce.